out the signals for the Baltimore Colts. Unitas gives to Amici. The Colts are the world champions. Amici scores.
It's amazing, sensational, dramatic, heart-rending, exciting, thrilling finish in the history of college football. California won the big game. 5 seconds left in the game. You believe in miracles? Yes! Unbelievable.
This is Phil Steele.
This is Mike Burnham.
This is Wes Durham.
This is Mike Ashley.
Hi, this is Chuck Foreman, number 44 of the Minnesota Vikings.
Woo, mercy, this is handsome Jimmy Vane, the Boogie Woogie Man.
This is Coach Fry with Virginia Tech football, and you are listening to Big Dog Sports Talk.
Are you ready to rock? Are you ready to roll? Okay, let's do it.
You're in the doghouse with Rick Watson on Big Dog Sports Talk, presented by Pulaski County Sports and Entertainment. Join us in the Family Fencing Studios and chime in on the McClellan Chiropractic chat line. He's keeping cool with help from Little River Heating and Air, but this show is straight fire. And now, the big dog, Rick Watson.
Morning, how are you? It is a Thursday here on the program. Still raining outside the window here in the New River Valley. Hit us up on the McClellan Chiropractic chat line. Also, you can hit us up on the professional or BDST text line. Hope everybody's doing okay here on a Thursday. Heading into Halloween weekend, which is my birthday, by the way, tomorrow. I thought I was a goblin until I was 12. A much different vibe with everything going on. But we're going to be traveling. But, you know, good to spend some time with all of you. Good morning, Paul. Good morning, TP. How are you, brother? Is the governor of Virginia going to come out and help Virginia Tech hire like in Louisiana? Yeah, I'm telling you, that has that's killed a lot of the enthusiasm for that job. You made it very difficult if you're the governor of Louisiana to get LSU a good football coach. Hey, Steven. Go Jackets. Thanks, man. Appreciate you. By the way, this is cool. We apparently still have the 2 different streams going. We're not being promoted like we did. Like I said, YouTube will do that when you're hitting your metrics. We got that for a couple of days. But, yesterday's show, without promotion, had over 3,000 views on the other stream. How about that? So that's pretty good.
Oh my. Oh, no. Oh, no. That was out of nowhere.
Yeah. So that's good. So thank you all. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't. We're getting up there. Remember, it's free. If you are subscribed, it only takes one person to get us where we're going. And we are going in good spots. Andy Bitter joins us today from Tech Sideline. The Radford Hall of Famer, Big Ron Shelburne, number 42, will join us. And then Dwight Vick joins us as well. We're going to talk about the potential of a James Franklin hire at Virginia Tech and other things. Hey, good morning, Opal. How are you? Good morning, Hack. Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Opal. So we got all that stuff going on today, and it's good stuff. And we'll get Andy's take. Of course, we had Teal on Wednesday, and he also does that podcast on Tech Sideline. So we'll see what all he thinks, what they surmised, and where they are on the coach situation. Tech, of course, playing on Saturday against Louisville. Very interesting contest, to say the least. We had basketball exhibitions now completed. It's hard to believe the regular season starts Monday in college basketball. Yeah, Radford played Bridgewater. Didn't have a great second half. But first half, they came out. They shoot a lot of threes. I mean, the Radford MO is going to be fast threes, try to get layups, beat people down the floor. They're not going to take intermediate jump shots. It'll be interesting to see if that's something that when teams adjust to that type of thing, we'll see. But, yeah, a lot of new guys out there, only one guy back from last year. It's going to be a different style. And, kudos to the Bridgewater kids because they played the second half fairly evenly. They're in the ODAC. They're picked 9th, I think, in the ODAC. And they played their tails off, man. They did. What's up, Terry? How are you? Hey, Rodney. Good morning, man. Which game are you doing this weekend, Rodney? Which game do you have tomorrow? High school football. We'll record the Fourth and Goal show a little bit later today. The way the week has gone with everything, with the passing of my what would have been my soon-to-be mother-in-law. We're just kind of going day by day. I know it's not a bad way to go. You just have to go day by day. Tough. But this has helped, being here, still doing the show. It's helped a lot. So thank you to everybody for your support and for just being here. Tomorrow, my latest Big Dog Barks article comes out in the Patriot, thanks to Mike Williams. And I wrote it about gambling. Radford and Floyd, oh, man. Oh, Battle of the Black and Gold. That used to be one of my favorite games to broadcast. I, of course, called Bobcat games for Coach Lindenberg for 8 years. And I loved that game. Man, I love that game. You see those two black and gold uniforms together, That's always a lot of fun. Floyd's having a good year. So, yeah. A lot of messages on the text line. People are getting antsy. Getting a little antsy about the Tech coach. Look, you can't – the process is the process. I get it. But things have to go through things. For instance, if you're going to be the highest paid state employee, there's a state vetting process. Things don't just go, hey, Troy, good morning. Things don't just happen because you want them to. Trust me. If that were the case, we wouldn't be dealing with what we're dealing with in my family right now. But so just let the process play out. I have not heard anything contrary to the information I brought to you about James Franklin and Tech. If I hear anything contrary, I'll let you know. I'm sure since someone took the time, a couple people took the time to reach out to me to tell me how far it had advanced, that if something gets a snag, I'll get an update. But, yeah, I'm not going to sit here and, jump through hoops and get all worried about it. Because they got a game to play Saturday, right? They got Louisville coming to town on Saturday. And we'll see how they respond to all that. But appreciate other people watching on the outside here on the other stream as well. Welcome. Except for the botted comments. I know that happens, but welcome. No worries. It's all part of it. But we appreciate the extended audience. It's great that people are coming back to the show. That's really good. Even though they're not pushing us out there like they were. But I do appreciate the 2 days they gave us. I mean, we averaged over 5,500 views, man. That's mind-blowing. So thank you. Also, thanks to Family Fencing, 540-200-8294. They have a no-dig installation system. No mess, locally owned. Give them a call. Free quotes. And those folks are going to work through the winter, man. They don't care. McClellan Chiropractic, Mark Hunley over on Pepper Ferry Road, sponsor of our chat room. They are the best. Go hang out with them and let them do their thing. Each and every day we're presented by Pulaski County Sports and Entertainment. Thanks to Jonathan Sweet and Tim Miller. Charles Lee and Little River Heating and Air, 1095 Radford Street, 540-553-2971. If you're local here, look for the black and blue truck. Run them down. Tell them you need their help. They are the best. Ryan Pry, the attorney, sponsors our BDST fan question of the week, 701 West Main Street in Radford, trust and estate planning. And we're about 50-50 now. I put the question out there. Do you believe that what we watch in our sports is legitimate? It was about 60% people saying yes, and now people are coming back the other way, 50-50. Thanks to Lara Ramsey. Talked to Lara yesterday. She gave us condolences. My family, of course, means a whole lot. She's the new president and CEO, National Bank, member FDIC, exclusive banking partner of BDST. I talked with Travis Williams yesterday, Professional Incorporated, folks. They're right across from New River Community College in Dublin, right there on Route 100. You can't miss it. They've been in business 38 years, and this is just a company that's absolutely exploding because of the quality of work they do. And they are looking for people. They need people. They need installers. Professional Door needs some installers. You don't have to have experience. In other words, you want you just to walk in and talk to him. You can call, look up the number and call. Or you can just walk in and just ask for Travis. That's the kind of environment he has. You know, he wants it to be more than just, hey, I'm going to do a job for a paycheck. That's not the way he runs his business. But if you're looking for a career, and this can become a career, let him talk to you about what they're looking for. They've got so much business, so many jobs that they need installers. And if you're handy, even if you don't know what you're doing, like I would be, they don't care. He will train you because he's the best. He wants people to be honest about their experience level. But you can learn a trade and work for a great company, $20 per hour to start. They cover your insurance completely after 90 days. Go see Travis. If you need a job, you want a career, and you want to work, but you want to have the rewards of working for a great environment, go talk to him. Just trust me. They're the best. They're the best. The NRV Super Bowl served the community for 25 years. We're going to have boogie bowling tomorrow night, Halloween night. 382-5525. If our circumstances were better here, I was thinking about actually going over there. My birthday. But I'm not going to. And Lawson's Mobile Home Supply, located 300 North Franklin Street in Christiansburg. Give James a call, 5403-818011, and go to Harvey's GM and do whatever you need to do to let Brad Harvey help you with your next vehicle. They are unbelievable. Unbelievable. Don't forget Chamber of Commerce Day Saturday, Tech in Louisville. If you have any questions, reach out to Steve Baffuto. $25, all it is. Joe Wagner with Tech Athletics can also help you at jwagner@hokies.vt.edu. Chamber of Commerce Day is coming up this Saturday, so that'll be a lot of fun for the Montgomery Chamber. All right, let's get people caught up here on the chat, the McClellan Chiropractic chat room. So David says, since you're writing about gambling, you should open up bets and odds for Tech's new head coach. And maybe if we don't have an announcement, maybe that'll be the question next week. Yeah, we will do that. From the cellular wave on Poor Mountain to High Knob in Wise County, out to Low Country in Palm Coast, BDST's on the air. Good morning, Morris. Sitting out there on the beach as the waves ripple and the sun comes up with his little fancy umbrella drink. Hey, Prometheus, good morning. Teal said that Witt was involved with the coaching hire. He's the one talking. Yeah, he is the one talking to the agents. Yeah, he's not involved in the person. He's just involved in the agent, which we knew was going to be the case, and it kind of makes sense. That's what he said on Wednesday, and it's kind of why Witt's hanging around. I think he's going to be gone as soon as the new coach comes on board. Good morning, Tootie. How are you? Troy, Patrick Henry coming to Kenneth J. Dobson Stadium tomorrow night. Witt is not involved in the hiring in the sense of the person, no. He had absolutely no say on the person. Now, they may have went to him after they made their decision, but No. Hack says, how old am I? I am 27 years old. Can you negotiate a buyout if you're good at installing? I don't think they have buyout clauses at Professional Door, Paul. Yeah, he's going to approve. Yeah, I know that, Jim, but he's not influencing who they want as the head coach, right? Yeah, he's in that position to nod his head and approve it, but he's not going out actively with these folks trying to find a head coach. He lost that right because he failed miserably with the other two hires, right? Thank you, Rodney. That means a lot. Means a whole lot. Zoros, we're talking all things college sports, college football here locally, Virginia Tech, their coaching situation, LSU, the SEC, you name it. That's what we're doing. Yeah, he is. Yeah, you're right, Prometheus. He's still involved. He wasn't going to be kept around during this process and be completely just oblivious to what was going on. And I know that's going to piss a lot of people off because Tech has handled that completely the wrong way. There's no question about it. But he is not spearheading this committee. He is not going out and actively vetting coaches. I mean, why would he have any part of this? It's just like what's happening with LSU when the governor says, hey, the AD is not going to have any part of this hire. Why does he still have a job? If your AD, who's failed miserably with his other two coaching hires and football's failed, why does he still have a job? And that's the whole question about all this. Why? Well, he's the only one there in place who knows how to deal with the intricacies of, what's going on with the agents, right? I don't believe anyone there right now would have any confidence when he would say, hey, I think we should go with this guy. I mean, they created a committee. Do you think they would go out of the way to have a committee to do all that and still let Witt be the main voice of this hire? Is that what people are saying? Morris, wow, you're going to Japan. I will be in deep depression for 2 weeks. Karen and I are headed for 2 weeks to Japan. Limited view of BDST. Hey, I think you can get us on YouTube. Check us out. Let me know. If you can get us in Japan, that'd be great. If you can get us some Japanese subscribers, Morris, that would be awesome. Just do the opposite of what Witt wants. I think people are misidentifying the role Witt has in this. But I understand why you're concerned. We've talked about it ad nauseum, how it hasn't made any sense. But from what Teal explained here on Wednesday and what he did apparently in the Tech Sideline podcast, he's there because if he's gone, right? If he's gone and he doesn't have a lot of strong, experienced people underneath him and all of these sub-athletic directors for the sports or however it's set up. You have to watch at 6 p.m. in Japan. Wow. That's true. The Radford basketball played over there, and when they would play in our mornings, it was late afternoon. That's right. That's right. Darius took the team over there because we had a Japanese player on our squad. So you're right. You're right. We'll talk to Andy Bitter about everything that was said yesterday to get some clarification. I did not watch it, so. But that's the thing about it, Prometheus, and this is why it's been handled poorly, right? Why would they hire somebody else to do that if they're still paying Witt? And these are questions you have to ask, and that's a devil's advocate question. I'm with you on that. Like they're not. Why would you cost yourself? What? Who you gonna hire to do that if you've already left him in place? It's like this whole thing opens up this. Exactly. No, I'm with you. So Prometheus, I'm with you. They should have made that call when they let Brent Pry go, just like Georgia Tech did. But it's just like this whole, if he's going to actually stay, you're going to hire a separate football AD. If it is James Franklin, you think James Franklin's going to worry about what a guy's been told he has nothing to do with the football program going forward has to think? Who's he going to answer to? Those are questions we don't know, and this is part of the whole process that's made no sense really from ground zero since D-Day for Brent Pry the Sunday after the Old Dominion game. But what Teal said, and I'm guessing it wasn't too much different than what he said here yesterday, was that Witt's hanging around to negotiate maybe the wording on the contract. Lawyers are involved, all sorts of things. But I find it very difficult to believe you're going to hire a committee with Bruce Arians and Bud Foster, and they're going to say, this is the guy we want to hire. And then Witt's going to go, hey, wait a minute. Wait. I don't like that guy. You think they're going to care at this point? Then why have the committee? Why go through the dog and pony show of the committee if you're still going to do the same damn thing you've done that hasn't worked twice? The greatest definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. Why do you think Tim Sands was the one who came out and had the statement about the firing of Brent Pry and not the athletic director? Do you believe things have changed that much? That now all of a sudden they've softened that and, okay, we didn't let the AD handle the firing of the football coach that he hired, but we're all of a sudden going to let him be the main voice in the new hire? No. Well, I'll tell you what, Prometheus, if there is a delay for some reason, and I'm not saying there is, I'm just saying if there is, there has to be questions asked by his lawyers about the power structure. I agree with you 100% on that because it's screwed up and there's a lot of ambiguity. The fact that you left Witt over there without really a clear statement as to why, other than he won't have anything to do with football going forward. He won't be the guy. I just think they got in there and realized who else would be able to talk to these agents? Who else would be able to look at the, structuring of a contract? Who has that experience? Do people on the committee, do these committee people have that? No, the answer is no. We'll see. We'll see. It's a very confounded thing that they've created. There's no doubt. And I still haven't had one person tell me that they want him to stay with Babcock. Not one person. But they're doing their own thing. And I believe in large part it's because of that, and it's because of the personal relationship that he has with Sands. Paul says, I'm not afraid of what is going on. The longer it goes, the better I feel about it. A quick hire would make me nervous about what we're going to get. Yeah, people wanting to jump the gun. Well, if it's going to be James Franklin, why hasn't he done it? Is he just using this for leverage? What is he doing? Well, we'll never be told the inner workings. Jimmy Sexton is the best at what he does. That's why he represents like 75% of these coaches? Is he trying to leverage other jobs? Probably. Doesn't mean that it doesn't mean Franklin's not the guy for Tech. but it's business. You know, I don't know how much money people need. I think Jim McAllister said it yesterday. Well, why can't you just come to an area and go, hey, I love the lifestyle there. How many millions do you need? How much money do you need? I saw yesterday they valued the new value for Elon Musk and Tesla is like $500 billion. He's going to be the world's first trillionaire. And every day he talks about he's got to be on medications to battle depression. That his nerves are completely shot. He's a miserable person a lot of the time. How much money do you need to be happy? I don't know. These are questions. See, again, I try to remind people, and I was talking to people last night at the Radford exhibition, because everybody's like, hey, what's going on? You don't know what people's motivations are with these jobs anywhere. You don't know what they're looking to do. I mean, I would think James Franklin would be a little humbled, maybe a lot humbled by the fact that he was let go. We've talked about the concerns, the red flags that I have about it. Penn State, preseason, what were they? Number 2, number 3. Lost that close game in overtime to Oregon. Went out and got throttled by UCLA. And I mean throttled. The team quit on him at UCLA. They came home, quit on him against Northwestern. And that was all they needed to see up at Happy Valley after what he had done, all the wins that he had, and having them in the playoff last year. That's all they needed to see to get his ass out of there. I think that should cause some concern. Why were they so eager? Why were the boosters so eager to eat that buyout? Why was the new AD so eager? These are questions we haven't really gotten the answer to. But we don't know what his motivation might be now. Is it just money? If it's just money, he's going to hold out and go to the SEC at some point. But his path is much easier to the playoff through the ACC. Does he want part of this new SEC where the shelf life might be 2 years, 3 years tops for a coach? Paul says, do I want Witt in there? No, but the guy's not intentionally trying to make Tech crappy unless he works for the mob. Instead of point shaving, is he involved? Is he involved in like athletic department shaving? Okie Bob, this is a game of Texas Hold'em. And so for the dealer has only dealt 3 cards. Yeah, just let the process play out. Trust me, if I'll get a call, I'll get a text. If things are off the wickets, I'll post on the Facebook page if it happens outside the show. If I get one during the show, I'll show you and we'll just talk about it. David says, hopefully if Tech hires Franklin, they pay him, what is that? $100,000 per year. Let Penn State pay that. Yeah, I did. It's a good point. It won't be $100,000, but I do want to correct a lot of people. A lot of people are saying that, Virginia Tech's going to have to really ante up to get him. But what he's going to probably do, he'll end up getting more money the way they can structure it. And here's another reason why it's probably taking a little longer than people want to have it go. All right. A lot of people are frustrated, but for instance, you got to look at the buyout. Penn State's on the hook for about $7 million, right? $7 million a year until 2031. So let's say he came to Tech and he could say, I'll take $5 million, save $2 million a year. He still gets his $7 million. Only $2 million of it coming from Tech, from Penn State, $5 million coming from Tech. Then in 2032, he gets $10 million. They would save money going forward, and you can put that difference into the coaching salary pool. And then Jimmy Sexton's going to say, hey, here comes the leverage. It's going to all be fully guaranteed if you fire him. No more of this percentage of a buyout. So there's a lot of that kind of thing going on. Just let the process play out. In the words of the late Biggie Smalls, mo money, mo problems. Yep, TP. Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot to that. So you're on to something, David. He's got to think about his staff with all the money Tech has committed. Yeah, right there you go, Paul. That's exactly what I was talking about. Yeah, and I think that's kind of what is going to happen. He doesn't need to come here and leverage Tech for $12 million a year because he'll get more money long term. And if he takes less coming in, I think Tech will eagerly say, all right, if we fire you, you'll still get your money guaranteed. And that's the kind of thing that they do. And I agree, Prometheus, and Chris and I talked about it here on the show, and we both agree that having Witt there for any further length of time, other than after up until the announcement of the new coach, makes no sense. Because it does have what Chris talked about. He said the same thing here on the show, and he's right. There has to be some accountability from a guy who's making 7 figures who didn't do his job. Which job was to elevate the football program as a new AD after the Frank Beamer era. He made a really good hire on paper the first time. The best comment I've ever heard Witt say, he doesn't say a lot, was after the firing of Justin Fuente, he was a 5-star recruit that never developed, that got to a program and never developed, did not pan out. And he was. Nobody complained. Everybody here, myself, you. Oh, Justin Fuente, man, there's a lot of power schools that want him. He's coming to Tech. What a great job. Had the great first year with Frank's players, had a decent second year, still a lot of those players. And then when it became his own program, it went to crap because he didn't know how to run a program at this level. The thing that will never make sense to me is how in your second hire, you went out of your way to bring in a guy with 0 head coaching experience who was a co-coordinator of defense. And then you let him hire his coaches as the AD. Maybe the bigger sin was not saying, look, if you're going to bring in a staff, you better damn well have somebody that knows what they're doing. You need a little guidance. We're going to give you this job, but you need a little guidance. You need a little help. But instead, no, let's bring in 2 inexperienced guys who never got it and never caught on. It made 0 sense then. It makes even less sense now looking back at it retrospectively. Wayne says, but will your ego let you sign for less? I think his ego is being driven by he wants to give Penn State a big old crap burger to eat. Will this coaching carousel cycle change the way schools structure these giant buyouts? I think they have to, Matthew. Knicks fan. What's up, Knicks fan? That's a great logo, by the way. The Knicks logo in the basketball. That looks good, man. Yeah. I don't guess I've ever really paid attention to it, Knicks fan. That looks really good. The NYK. Yeah, that's sharp. All right. Sorry. What's the point of a committee only to have the moron himself the final say? Exactly. He's not going to have any final say on, yeah, I agree with you. Oh, wait a minute. Is that who we want? I think it should be this guy. He only has influence in the fact that he's getting all the paperwork done. We'll talk to Andy about all this. We'll address all of your concerns with Andy. Because I didn't, especially this week, I don't have time to watch that podcast. Hokey Bob says, why don't you subcontract more? She's going to be in Japan. Ooh, live sumo wrestling. Absolutely. I love sumo wrestling. Morris, why don't you work on that? Yeah, let's do that. Paul says, I get all that about Fuente, but you set him up for failure. I don't really agree with that. They didn't give him the money or support. They also said you have to take this guy and that guy. I think Justin Fuente set himself up for failure. That whole, hey, we're going to stop recruiting the state, right? This is before the portal and NIL became official, right? So high school relationships and high school coaches in the Commonwealth hated him. He set himself up for failure because he turned the key programs in the state against him. When you get invited to Warwick High School multiple times, Warwick High School, by the way, you may have heard of it. There's a guy named Michael Vick, who's the greatest football player you've ever had come through your program. Took you to a national title. When they want you to come there and have a presence to kind of reintroduce Tech and you turn them down multiple times, you kind of set yourself up for failure. He never went to Warwick High School. David says Tech should backload his contract with incentives, 10-win season. Yeah, I'm all about if you're going to make these coaches multimillionaires, absolutely. I love incentive contracts. Everyone, come on. Franklin would never go to LSU or Florida. He would be run out of there within 2 years. He can't handle that. He's not built for that. Very few people are going to be built to go to LSU now. I'll be very curious to see how that plays out and who takes that job. Morris says, with these new translating AirPods, Aaron got me. I should be able to recruit like hell. Maybe Keisha, get her done. Yeah. Show them BDST, baby. Shame we didn't have the shirts in. You could have just point at the QR code. Wayne, are you saying Justin dealt with ludicrous crap? That's the most ludicrous crap we've ever seen. Absolutely. My dad has never been wrong. Fish rots from the head. And it did. The football program rotted with Whit Babcock in charge of it. 100%. 100%. Yes, Wayne, I did. Thank you. I got it yesterday evening, last night, actually, when I got back from basketball. So thank you. Wayne got me a couple early birthday gifts. I mentioned the bacon jerky, which was excellent. It's gone, by the way. That's my favorite thing. Man, that stuff's so good. Jack Links, you did it right. And I haven't looked at it yet, but maybe I will on the plane. The Back to the Future book. That's cool, man. Thank you, Wayne. Thank you. It means a lot. I really mean that. Thank you so much. You're too kind. You're way too kind. But thank you. Justin Fuente is now a senior advisor for the CF College Football Playoff. Yep, exactly. He's actually good as an analyst. I don't know what in the world he's supplying for the CFP. I have no idea. No idea. Like, no idea. No idea. Hitting a big-time name comes with a big-time guy. And out of that would cripple Hokie football. Oh, I'm sorry, big-time buyout. Yeah, I'm interested to see how these buyouts go going forward. Be very interesting. Very, very interesting. Paul says you need to get a P.O. box so fans can send you junk. And your new fourth hour, you can do openings. Paul's pushing for the fourth hour. Well, when this thing starts contributing more financial gain and I can focus on it more, I'll be glad to go to a fourth hour. I'd be glad to go to a 6 to 10. Absolutely. Now I'll be in here tomorrow. Actually, it's going to work out that I'll be able to do the show in the morning. So I didn't think I was going to be able to, but I will. I will be here tomorrow. And then things get hectic. But I will. I'll be here tomorrow. So, yeah. I've left the professional door thing running the whole time, haven't I? Let me go fix that. We love professional door. There we go. Sorry about that. Didn't mean to have things running. People are saying, hey, you got a banner running. Yeah, because we want you to go work at professional door. That's why. Good morning, Tina. How are you? Good morning. So yeah, we'll talk to Andy about all this, and we'll get his take, because I'd like to hear. I'm going to take everybody's word for it, because I didn't watch and you did watch. So we'll reveal what all was said, and we'll break it down and see what his thoughts are. So yeah, Andy joins us here coming up. He's involved in that podcast, right? Usually, Prometheus, was Andy on there yesterday? I know he hasn't been on a couple, but he's on most of the time. Was he on there yesterday? Let me know. That'll help when I talk to him. Thanks again, Wayne. Appreciate that. A whole bunch. Was he on there yesterday, Prometheus? Was Andy on there? Let me know. But I'm telling you. Okay, Hokey Rock does he well. Okay, good. Then he'll be able to talk directly about it. Cool. That'll be good. And we'll find out what his thoughts are and what he thinks it means with Witt's involvement. I don't know. I didn't hear the conversation. Now, if they came to the conclusion that Witt's going to be able to change the direction of the search, then they have no hope over there. If that's still going on, then I don't know what in the hell they're doing. But I don't think that's the case. I don't think you have Bruce Arians and Bud Foster recommending a hire only to have it overruled by a guy who's hanging on by a thread because he failed football twice. If that's the case, then there's no hope. If all that's true, then the dysfunction over there is so great, then Tech fan, you should just go ahead and give up. If that is true, I don't know how to even respond to that if we find out that you put this committee in place. By the way, there's a great, I don't know, one of you may have sent it. Somebody sent it. The whole Michael Leach, rest in peace, coach. Came on the show many times. Mississippi State, you name it, wherever he's been, Washington State, great coach. Revolutionized offensive football in college football. Revolutionized it. And what he had to say about committees. That's why I fully believe, and people say, well, why'd they put other people on it? Politics. They had to put certain people on the committee for politics. The only two people that matter on the committee to me are Bruce Arians and Bud Foster. People that are on it, they have nothing to do with football. How can they go out and talk to a coach about being the best guy? They can talk to him about other things, but they can't talk to him about anything with football. You don't think Bruce Arians is completely 100% drenched in understanding what it takes to make a program successful? Won a Super Bowl, didn't he? Loves Virginia Tech. I think he knows what it looks like. I think Bud Foster knows what it looks like. I gotta be honest, Wayne, I loved it. I talked to Andy about that too. I didn't know they were doing that, and I got home last night after the exhibition, and I was behind and I was catching up. And I think that Hokie script looks great. I do. That's cool. I think it looked really good. I don't know. Are they doing something? I mean, I know they've never had a helmet like that. Is this just something they're doing new? Is there some kind of meaning? I just saw pictures, and as soon as I saw it, I was like, all right, that looks good. I did. I liked it. Face masks are okay. I'm not a huge fan of painted face masks. I like gray face masks, traditionalist, but it's fine. But no, the Hokie script helmet looked really, really sharp. But see, this is a guy who likes the old Bengals helmet from the 70s. Yeah, Joseph. A lot of people have been talking about it, man. The fans, that was great. Those shirtless students kind of they became a meme, and they kind of went viral on X. Yeah, that was cool. That was cool. Hokie rocks. Leach rants about what the best part of college football. Man, if you have time today, peeps, let me tell you, if you're feeling down, if work's got you down, the weather, which is really crappy, if it's got you down, go find it on YouTube when Mike Leach breaks down the Pac-12 mascots and who would win ultimately in a fight between all the mascots. It is classic. It's unscripted. He's just doing it off the cuff. Go watch. Just type Mike Leach and Pac-10, Pac-12 mascot fights or what. I don't know. You'll find it. It's about 5 minutes. Trust me, you won't care. He did. And what was funny about that whole thing was the first time he came on, it was when he was at Texas Tech. And it was a lot like with Bobby Bowden. We had a great conversation, and he came on. He would just come on that show. So I got to know him a little bit. So when he passed, it really kind of jarred me. Hey, Australia, really? Joe Cool? Welcome. We got Australian people. Nice. Yeah. Man, that's really cool. Good day. I can't do an Australian accent. Good day. Good day. 8:45 p.m. in Brisbane, Australia. Well, thank you. Hope all is well with you. Spread the word, Joe Cool. Get folks to subscribe. I hope you're subscribed. That's awesome. So one of the times after he and I had kind of gotten to know each other, it was like the third or fourth time he came on the show. And he goes, hey, Rick, before we get into what, let me tell you, I started thinking about your name, the show, Big Dog Sports Talk. He goes, let me ask you a question. What gives you the right? And he was just doing it in jest. It was great. And I knew where he was going, and we just let it go, and I play the straight man, right? I mean, you call yourself the big dog. I know a lot of big dog. There's a lot. And he would go through the breeds of dog. What makes your dog brand the biggest? Rick, I just say I like, being on with it, but that's got to make sure you've done your read. And he went through breeds, and he talked about kind of a similar thing. And it was so good. And I'm so upset that all those great interviews got lost with the transfer of ownership down at those stations. Oh, my goodness. But he did a similar thing with me on the show in Big Dog Sports Talk. Man. And he does, you got to watch the who he thinks going to win in a fight of the Pac-12 mascots. It's wonderful. It's wonderful. Hey, Jimmy, good morning. Yeah, I didn't see you last night at the exhibition. What's up, man? Yeah, it was raining really hard. Yeah, it was. Hokie rocks. The way his mind work was insane. Used to listen to him on Sirius, and he would dip and pull. Guy was so good for college football, and he was an offensive guru. He was a genius offensively. Moore says, I heard J.D. Vance say at Ole Miss last night that despair is a sin. Come on, Hokies, chin up. Be happy. Better times are coming. Exactly. Tech, you're going to get a damn good football coach. It's going to happen. No, I never boxed kangaroos or wrestled crocs. No. Hey, Jimmy seen it, the Mike Leach mascot video. Yeah. Guy was brilliant, man. Yeah, the advantage last night for Radford was all the guys are out there in front of the home crowd for the first time. All the new guys. Only one player back from last year. It's Bridgewater. Picked like 9th or 10th in the Yodak. So, yeah, I remember that when he got interviewed by the sideline reporter, and she asked to give her wedding advice. And then he does the one about Halloween candy, which is going to show up everywhere because tomorrow's Halloween. It might show up a lot today. When he's on the sideline and he started getting into what he looked for and, the proper Halloween candy. This is during a football game or right after the football game. We need more Mike Leaches, especially in today's college athletics. Man, he is greatly missed. Coach is probably looking down, laughing at everybody, the way things have gone. Crowd was pretty good last night, actually. Yeah. Crowd was pretty darn good. Hey, Jason, I remember BDST at McAdoo's, early 2000. Yeah, man, we were over there every week. And we were also over at the Five Guys was over there at the time, close by. And we had a contract with them. Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. Very good stuff. It's good memory you have. And that's how I met Jen out on a remote. This was at a different place in Blacksburg. Yeah, welcome to all the green members. Everybody in green, that means you're actually contributing a little money my way. I appreciate it. Look, I would never ask for it. You don't have to pay to subscribe, but it's very nice. It's not inexpensive to do this, but it's great. That's why the sponsorship help has been wonderful. So, yeah, if you're throwing a few nickels and dimes my way, you can see it. There's a way to do it. We've gotten to a certain subscriber base. We've gotten to a metrics base of views and watches and hours watched to where they open things up like that. So that's great. That's why we got promoted last week. And that's why we still have apparently 2 streams up now that I didn't have anything to do with. They're just not, pushing it now. Hopefully they will again. But yeah. Yeah, it was Five Guys. Remember we'd sit over there and we'd actually just eat bacon burgers on the air? For only 10 cents a day, you can feed Rick. That's all it takes. Andy Bitter joins us here, coming up in just a little bit. I will let him know. By the way, just to update you, Mike Young next week. He's great. Said his apologies, but things are happening pretty quick. Tech plays Monday as well. So he's going to be on, I believe, next Wednesday. So, yeah. So, Mike Young next Wednesday. Marty and Rags Monday. Donate now. Or you can just donate in packages of Jack Link's bacon jerky. That's perfectly fine. Yeah, Tulane tonight in a hot commodity, John Sumrall. Who they play tonight, Jimmy? Without me having to look it up. And I have become more of even though it has gotten completely off the rails and the reason there's Friday night college football because the NFL took over Thursday and it's taken over high school football on Fridays. I still seek out the college game that is on Thursdays over the NFL Thursday night game in most cases, unless it's the Broncos. John Sumrall will have a P4 head coaching job next year. Alex Golish will likely have a P4 head coaching job next year. Bob Chesney will likely have a P4 coaching job next year. I just don't believe any of them are going to be in Blacksburg. This whole thing could have been solved, I think, already, at least in terms of having conversations. And again, I know schools, you have to be careful. Coaches have to be very careful. At UTSA. Ooh, that'll be tough. Ooh, that's tough. Now, Texas San Antonio, they got that tricky turf. Yeah, we'll see how Tulane does. Now, that's an interesting game. I'll watch that. I'll watch that. Thanks, Jimmy. Thank you. But those are coaches that are in demand, but there's going to be so many jobs, and we've talked about it here, and people have brought it up on chat. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see if there's going to be enough good coaches to fill these jobs, and I think that's what's happened with a lot of these openings. Yeah, I know, Jimmy, but I'll be in the air and in a different state. And I think LSU's really pigeonholed themselves, especially now. You're going to have to really ante up a lot of money to attract somebody after that outburst yesterday. I don't know what that was. That's embarrassing that LSU has become that. You know, that's a great question. Todd Grantham will be back on Monday. And, of course, he's still close with Mike Gundy, who hired him at Oklahoma State. So we'll ask that question. Yeah, we'll ask that question. I don't know the answer to it, but we'll ask that question. I don't know what his motivations are either. He's got a lot of buyout money too. He's such an Oklahoma State guy. It might be tough for him to jump right back into another job at another school. You know? No, Paul, and you're right. There are a heck of a lot of great coordinators. Yeah, everything's happening over the weekend, Wayne. So, yeah. Be weary-eyed, but, yeah. There are a lot of really strong coordinators who are also going to get jobs. Tech is in a position to where they can't do that anymore. They have to have a sitting head coach after what happened last time. They've done it all. Has there been any Power 4? I'd have to research that, Prometheus. Has there been any Power 4 school hire coach before December? You mean ever? I don't know, man. That's a good question. That is a really good question. Yes, Chris. Dwight Vick will be on at 8 o'clock today. Yes. Keep the comments coming in on the McClellan Chiropractic chat line. It's been great. Thank you for all the well wishes. We will get through this difficult time. Life comes at you pretty damn hard in the most unexpected ways, but we'll muddle through. Thank you. It's helping, again, talking to you. The Radford Hall of Famer Ron Shelburne as well, a little bit later on. Joining us now, not officially a Hall of Famer yet, but a Hall of Famer in my mind from Tech Sideline, Andy Bitter. What's up, AB? Good morning, man. How are you?
I'm pretty good. How you doing?
We're hanging, man. We're hanging in there. Well, let's get right to it. Apparently, your podcast on Tech Sideline raised a ruckus yesterday with people because they felt like the conversation saying that Whit Babcock's going to be much more involved in this hire than they want. What was the outcome? I didn't get to watch, so I'm asking you generally what you guys talked about.
I mean, a lot of James Franklin talk, just a lot of general talk about the coaching search. I don't know if we said anything controversial about Whit Babcock. I mean, he's still around, so yeah. I think they're still using him to some degree. He's not on the committee side of this thing, but they've already stated that he's on the hiring authority group. He's part of that group of 3 with John Rokovich and President Tim Sands that is going to have the final say on this matter. So I don't know why it would be too shocking on this whole thing. I also think that, the committee would be foolish not to tap into somebody who has at least played the agent game before, that has dealt with these guys. Bud Foster's never done that. He's a football coach. Bruce Arians hasn't done that. They've been on the other side of it. They've had agents working on their behalf, but they haven't, had to negotiate with agents, and certainly, these board members and stuff have not had to deal with that kind of thing before. So that's a whole different game that you have to deal with
on that side.
I mean, agents are going to get the very best deal for their client, no matter what they have to do to do it. And if you're going up against, Jimmy Sexton in particular, you better have somebody that knows what they're doing in a negotiation like that. So I don't think it's necessarily too controversial to say that, they would tap into Babcock's experience in this situation.
No, see, and that's what I've been countering with people. I think that's why he's still involved for the main part. I don't think he's going to look at any suggestion that they make if people are in agreement. Go, I don't think he should be the coach. I think he lost that right because he's 0 for 2 in hires. But you're right. There's nobody there under him that can handle that side of it because he's done it a lot at his previous stops and also in Blacksburg.
Yeah, and again, he is on that hiring authority part. So there's some role that he has in this whole thing. He's just not the one that's driving the early process and narrowing down the list.
Well, what is the consensus now about who will be hired when you guys get together? There's always a great conversation. I got to go back and watch it. But what's the consensus now? Where do you sit on this now? Has it changed for you at all over the last week?
I mean, if I'm a betting man, I'd put it on James Franklin right now. Yep. They've had extensive conversations. What that means necessarily, I don't know, because that's what a coaching search is having extensive conversations on stuff. Is that to the point where, all of a sudden they could be talking about a hire? I don't know if it's that far, perhaps, but as we've mentioned many times, hires just don't take place this early in the process. This would be unprecedented that something would happen this early in the game. Typically, you're looking at later November, and perhaps with the accelerated nature of this coaching carousel, you could be looking earlier than that with some of the candidates that are out there that are currently unemployed, like James Franklin. But you have to remember, James Franklin is one of the biggest clients that Jimmy Sexton has, and he's also one of the biggest leverage points that Jimmy Sexton has, not only for this job, but for other jobs to have him out there. So would that benefit him too much to get him locked up this early in the process and take him off the board essentially for what you could do later in this whole deal? I don't think you'd want to do that. I think if you're Franklin, you probably have the leverage in this negotiation anyway. There's a lot more jobs open than there are coaches necessarily to fill them right now, or experienced coaches to fill them. They can go out and find more that maybe don't have the resumes that you might like going into this thing. It still could be good hires, but to feel comfortable about it, there are fewer coaching candidates out there than there are jobs to fill right now.
Yeah.
If that's the case, the ball is more in the coach's court right now. And, if you have a savvy agent like that, I think that really helps in that whole process. So the way I think about this is, who's the more desperate party right now? Is it James Franklin, who has a lot of options out there, that's sitting on $50 million or whatever it is if he doesn't get a job? Or is it the school like Virginia Tech that is, definitely desperate and certainly wants to get this done quickly before other schools could jump in and possibly get in on the opportunity? So if you're Franklin and you say, hey, just chill for a week or two like that while I try to make this decision, what's Virginia Tech going to do? Turn around and hire somebody else? Like the other coaches are coaching right now.
Yeah, they can. Yeah.
Unless you're going to go hire somebody like Jimbo Fisher, which I don't think they're going to do, or Pat Fitzgerald, which I don't think they're going to do. If your backup plan is Bob Chesney or something like that, he's coaching a team right now. So is he going to lock up something before the season is over? I don't think so. So I think the timeline of this thing, maybe people are hoping, Virginia Tech people are hoping that it'll be resolved soon. I have a tough time seeing that just because that's typically not how it's done.
Andy Bitter joining us from Tech Sideline. So Prometheus is saying that we were told Witt would not be involved, and yet here we are. I think there's a misunderstanding about what – I know he's on that final say, whatever the hell that even means, but he's not going to be the guy to hire the new football coach. I don't know how much more clearly we can say that. That's not what's happening over there right now, right?
Yeah, I mean –
he's not.
He's not the one that's making. I mean, the way the process is set up is previously the athletic director and solely the athletic director would make the decision. It would be his search, and perhaps have lieutenants that are helping him out, or they'd have a search committee for plausible deniability and to handle some of the face-to-face talks and stuff like that. In this case, they have a committee of 8 that is doing the heavy lifting on this whole thing. But then it does have to go through Babcock and 2 others to make the final call on this whole thing. So that's the difference in the process. Is he involved? Yeah, I think he's involved in some way. Is he the sole arbiter of this whole thing? No, he's not.
No. And involved involved is exactly the way you laid it out, EB. It's, hey, he's there to talk to the agent. And I know people are angry. I get it. He should not be there. I get it. But he is. For whatever reason or reasons, he is. And I think Andy hit it on the head. I think David hit it on the head yesterday. It's there to talk to these agents because there's nobody else who can do it. Nobody. That's just the reality in which we live right now. So anyway, we shall see how it all unfolds here. I had to get your take on the LSU thing, man. This whole thing with the governor. How much did he hurt the process down there? It's already going to take a special dude to go down there. When you look at those last 4 coaches and the records, and 3 of them were dismissed, you're like, whoa, 2 of them won natties. What in the world's going on in Baton Rouge? Woo!
I mean, they care about football deeply.
Deeply.
That's all. I mean, if you didn't know that going into LSU to begin with, then what have you been watching all these years?
But the governor's saying, "Hey, hell, we're going to hire this ourselves, guys." That's that. Now that's not normal. That's not normal.
He said that, and then he backtracked because it kind of came across as insane. But again, that's an insane situation down there. All those SEC schools are, and it's even more so now with all the money being thrown into this thing. You go, oh, who's going to want to coach there? It's like, oh, I don't know. Everybody in the game is going to want $12 million to go down to coach at LSU and possibly win a national championship. Yeah, it might end badly, but everything always ends badly for these coaches. The game feels like it has changed a little bit, and all these people going out there and going, man, we got to find a coach for the next 20 years. Get that out of your mind. Find a coach for 5 years that can go and win somewhere.
Right.
I think these coaches know the score going in. The second you're hired, you're already fired a certain amount of time down the line. And, oh, by the way, you'll make quite a bit of money on the way out the door because these contracts have been so ridiculous. So in the meantime, while you're at a place, go to a place where you can win, that has the resources to do that kind of stuff, that, just plucks Virginia Tech's 2 best players essentially off the free agent market in the off season. And, if you're Virginia Tech, you're going, man, we'd like to have those players on our team this year. 3 of the last 4 coaches there have won national championships, and that should be very alluring to any coach in the country because they know it's a pressure cooker no matter where they go. I mean, it's a pressure cooker here. Brett Pry got fired in a little over 3.5, over 3 years. He didn't have a national title to show for it, and he didn't have a $59 million buyout to show for it. So, it's a little disconcerting that the governor is talking like this and like, oh man, who meddlesome people here and powerful people jumping into this whole thing. But as far as college jobs go, that's still one of the premier ones in the country.
What do you think is going to happen with these buyouts eventually? I mean, it's already been talked about so much on a national level. I know the agents they're there. I still don't understand how colleges do business that way. Do you see that structure changing anytime soon?
I mean, it all comes down to who has the leverage in these negotiations. And, perhaps collectively these groups will figure out that, hey, we don't have to pay all this extra money. We don't have to extend these coaches out 10 years. I have a tough time seeing them change that mindset. I mean, look at how these athletic departments operate. And it's, hey, we have to schedule football opponents out 15 years from now. No, you don't. You put together a COVID schedule in like one summer. Like you can figure out how to do this on the fly. It's not that hard. The way they run their athletic departments. Oh my gosh, we have this new $20 million expense on revenue sharing. How could we possibly change our finances to make this work? And it's, maybe we should cut the salaries of some of these, these outrageous salaries on the football staff. They go, no, let's turn up the price for customers. Let's find private equity. Let's do all these other stupid ideas.
Yeah.
Rather than look at our own insane spending problems that we have. So no, I don't think they're going to solve this whole thing. Maybe some are smarter about how they structure it. You see it some with these mitigation clauses that they have in contracts where you have to go out and find another job, and then it offsets what you're earning. And if Virginia Tech ends up hiring James Franklin and paying him $8 million plus a year, which I imagine it would, then Penn State's on the hook for nothing in that buyout. We made such a big deal, $50 million buyout. What are they doing? Well, it might end up being zero if he finds the right job. So perhaps that's a way that you can protect yourself on this. But I think it's just smarter to go that, you always used to say, oh, you got to have a 4-year contract or 5-year contract, because what will you tell recruits if you're going to leave sometime? And how can you go into a recruit's home and be honest? It's like, let's be honest. It's a 1-year, 2-year deal max now for these players, and they know the score.
Yeah.
If they go into a situation they don't like it, they can just go in the transfer portal, go somewhere else. They can do that multiple times throughout their career, and it's not an issue. So if you don't have that hanging over your head, I don't know why you need to go and sign a 10-year contract or something like that. That seems asinine to me. And, some of these ADs just need to be comfortable with the idea that there's other people that can do the job. And, all these fan bases and feel convinced that, like, man, we got our coach and this is the only guy who can come in here and win. Look at JMU. They cycle through coaches and they just keep winning because the program is strong. VCU has figured that out in basketball. Oh, you want to go get your big payday? Go do it. We'll find the next guy. It's fine. There's other coaches out there that can handle this stuff. And football's a little bit different enterprise because it's such a big operation. It's 150 plus people and everything in your whole program. But there are capable coaches out there that can handle it. So, don't be fooled by that whole thing of like, this is the one and only guy who can save our program. That's where you get in trouble.
And Wake's another school that's done a nice job. And I know they're not national contenders, but their last 3 hires, with Grove, with Clawson, and what Dickert's done at least his first year, they find, like you're saying, the fit. They understand. They have a great self-identity. They have great facilities, and they go out and they bring guys in. He's doing a great job, so they've done a good job too.
And that's a good example of, they're a better resource than you think of when you think of Wake Forest. But they go through the process. They don't hire coaches that like when they hire it, go, man, that's a home run hire.
Yeah.
Right. Like Dave Clawson, nobody's throwing parades when you get Dave Clawson, but he's a program builder. Jake Dickert,
fit, though. Yeah.
Jake Dickert was like this guy from Washington State. Like, what's he going to do here? And you look at the job he's done in year one. I picked him last in the ACC this year. I look like a fool. They've been really competitive. That defense is great. I think they're going to give some teams some trouble here down the stretch. They find good football coaches because good football coaches are out there, and if you look hard enough, you can get them.
That's right. Well, going back to last Friday, Tech continues to play their tails off for Philip Montgomery. A lot of things went against them that they couldn't control, but hey, double overtime win, games they didn't used to win. That's what his second one that he's gotten like that. What were your?
Well, it was a fun game to cover. This has been such a slog of a season, not just for me covering it, but for fans, obviously, that really like Virginia Tech and enjoy football. And their season was essentially over by mid-September, right? When you're firing the coach in mid-September, you're not sitting there going, here we go, I'm going to make a playoff run here. Like, no, that's not how it works. So I think they were waiting for something to celebrate and to enjoy. And man, you saw it the other day. These shirtless bros in the end zone waving their shirts around and stuff, and it's freezing cold, and they're overcoming different setbacks. And this is a zany game that's it's kind of the only show in town because it's the game on Friday night, so everybody's watching it because they like watching football. There's nothing else on. This is fun. That was a really fun thing, and sort of shows you why you love college football. It can be crazy, it can be frustrating, it can be maddening, but you keep coming back. And I keep hearing all these people. They're just like, that's it. I'm done. I'm done with Virginia Tech football, and they're not getting another dime from me. And then I'm going to guess that you watched that game. Yeah. I'm going to guess that it brought you back.
Right.
Because that's all it takes. That's the drug. It makes you addicted to this whole thing. And A win like that, I think they'll get a decent showing this week attendance-wise against Louisville because people will be like, all right, you convinced me to come back to this whole thing.
Well, what do you see on Saturday? Good Louisville team. They hit big plays. They've got a dynamic running back. I mean, Jeff Brom does a great job. I think Tech can do some things. I don't think they can keep up, but how do you see it unfolding on Saturday with the Cardinals coming to town?
Yeah, I think Louisville's a legit team. You saw what they did going down to Miami, winning that game. And they didn't play so well last week against BC, but still handled a bad team at home. It's sort of a hangover game maybe after the big win they had down there in Miami. I don't like the Hokies' chances in this one, but as we've seen out of them since Montgomery was hired, it's a team that's not quitting. They're going to give you a 60-minute effort out there. I just don't know if they can keep up. So when you get a 60-minute effort, anything can happen. You could hit on a few things.
Yeah.
You compete all the way to the end. And I think that's all that Virginia Tech fans want. And I think that's why they will show up to watch this game. But I think Louisville, I have them in my top 2 in the ACC. I think they're among the best teams there, and I think they'll show why on Saturday. So I like Louisville to win, but crazier things have happened.
Yeah, we've seen it all over the country. As you break down the rest of the league, Georgia Tech starting to separate itself a little bit. Got through some tough wins, but Jackets are playing pretty well, man. You have them. Where do you put them on? You have them ahead of Miami in talent. I mean, where they are record wise. How do you have the pecking order at the top of the league?
I don't know if I ever put anybody ahead of Miami in talent, but talent's never Miami's problem. It's the other
everything
stuff.
Else.
It's certainly the coaching. It's the mentality with them. And I'm curious to see now that they've lost a game. I know they beat Stanford last week, but second half of the season is always kind of where they're always off to a hot start, and then one little thing goes wrong, and the program kind of collapses. So I'm curious to see if they can bounce back because they still have a legitimate playoff chance if they keep rolling. A team that's intriguing to me right now is Pitt. They made that quarterback change to that freshman.
Yeah,
and man, they're just rolling. They haven't, they've played fairly easy schedule, so I don't want to sit here and be like, oh man, they just beat up on Florida State and Boston College and all these other teams that they should be beating up on. But, I mean, they're scoring lots of points. And Narduzzi has a pretty feisty defense usually out there. They play some of the big teams in the league coming up down the stretch here. I think they play Georgia Tech and they play Miami. They have a loss to Louisville, so they don't have that advantage in a tiebreaker. But I think that Pitt could be a team that could make a name for itself down the stretch here.
Yeah, Narduzzi does a nice job. He doesn't get a lot of credit. I know he's a little hot-headed, but you're right. He runs it's another strong guy, runs a good program. There's no question. And they play better at the end of the year. And they made a change, and they've turned it around. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. People want me to ask you about UVA. They keep winning close games. A lot of times that's a sign of a gutsy team, a good team, that they don't panic. But is it the schedule that's helping them, or what do you think about UVA? Is it just kind of a glass house situation, or what?
Yeah, I feel less confident about them than I did 3 weeks ago, and that's not to take away what they've accomplished. Because I think winning close games is a skill. And I covered a 2007 team, I think it was, at UVA, where they had, Chris Long was on that team, and Jameel Sewell was the quarterback, and they won a bunch of close games. And I want to say it was like 7 straight or something like it. Whatever it was, just a bunch of close wins, and always seemed to pull it out. It's like beating Middle Tennessee at the last second and finding ways to pull games out. And that was sort of their mantra that season. It was like, we're just a bunch of average Joes. And I think Al Groh used the phrase, we're like, what was it? The boxers, Joe Frazier just goes out to the middle of the ring, just slug it out. Like we're not going to be pretty. We're going to win. Maybe there's a little bit of that element to this UVA team. I think concerning that Chandler Morris doesn't look healthy.
No, he doesn't.
Because that was such a difference earlier in the year. That offense is not as dynamic as it was, obviously, when it's putting up 48 or whatever it was against Florida State. Defense, won the game for them against Louisville, won the game against North Carolina, essentially. I mean, held them to 16 points in that game. That you're not going to win if they don't have a big game. But you look at the schedule coming up, at Cal, Wake Forest at home, and I think at Duke. that's a tough little stretch there. I mean, you have to go across the country to play a Cal team that, pretty good. But we saw it the other day. They're a salty team. They have some weapons that can beat you. We've talked about Wake Forest. We saw that personally in Lane Stadium, how good Wake Forest can be. And then I think Duke is a legit team. So that's 3, not easy games coming up that, if you have some flaws on your team, I think, a loss will find you eventually if you've got enough flaws on your team. Even if, I would imagine UVA would be favored in two of those games at least. I don't know about the Duke one. Duke might be favored in that one. But, if they're sort of just skating by in a couple of these games barely with not great performances, I think it might catch up to them. So I think you might see a few losses here coming up for them. But, still, I mean, they're 7-1 right now.
Right.
You're picking nits if you're talking about a 7-1 team. And,
I know.
I'm sure Virginia Tech would love to trade places with them right now.
Yeah. They make or break it year, and it's definitely happened for Tony Elliott. He's made it. All right, brother. Listen, great stuff as always. We'll be following you on Saturday. I know how much you love the 3:00 kickoff.
Yeah, it's not ideal, but I mean, if you're a fan for tailgating purposes, it's going to be. I mean, I hope it's not rainy or anything like that, but I think this is going to be one of the last best opportunities, because that Miami game might get a little chilly in a couple of weeks near the end of the year. So this might be one of the last decent weather opportunities.
What's the kiddo's choice for Halloween costume tomorrow?
She was going as one of the Schuyler sisters from Hamilton. Eliza Schuyler. Her friend's going as Angelica, and then they have a little doll as Peggy. She's been very into Hamilton,
Really?
Yeah, it's since the spring. I got her to watch it, and it's been fun to watch it to sort of take off and blossom. So she's developing my love of history based on that. So,
do you ever dress up anymore? Have you done that in a while?
There was one year she went as Mirabelle from Encanto, so I bought a poncho and I went as Bruno as her companion in that. I don't know if I'm going to get like the full Revolutionary era garb to go along with this one. I think I'll just wear a hoodie and walk around, try to stay warm.
Sure, I got you. Well, you guys have fun tomorrow, and we'll touch base with you on Saturday. We'll just watch you on Twitter, brother. I love it.
All right, sounds good.
Man. Take care. All right, there you go. Andy Bitter joining us from Tech Sideline. Good stuff. Yeah, not going to go as a costume. All right, hang on. I gotta let the Creed in. Be right back. Hang on. It's hunting time's over. All right, we're back now. We had to go take care of that. Ron Shelburne going to join us here just a little bit. So the Creed, it doesn't matter the weather, man. He's been out there in the rain. He's been out there in the cold. He's got to go out, try to find him a kill in the morning. And he let Shelburne know that the invite has been sent. There we go. All right. Hit us up in the where am I at here in the chat room? Thanks to Andy. Dwight Vick at 8. Is Andy going to have his shirt off in the end zone? Probably not. Hey, look, Wayne asked a question. I didn't see your question, Wayne. Well, there you go. You just asked the question. That's weird. I'm shocked. You and I were on the same wavelength. I guess we're caught up. Hit us up on the McClellan Chiropractic chat line. We'll remind you about all of our great sponsors. Professional Door Incorporated, right across from New River Community College, Route 100, the sponsor of our text line. They're looking for installers. If you need a job that pays well, $20 per hour starting, he will train you. Travis Williams will train you. He wants to train you on how to do it the right way. They have a reputation. Don't go up there thinking, hey, I can do this. He doesn't want that. Be honest. You can learn a trade on the job, have a great mindset. You don't have to have experience, and he wants you just to walk right in, talk to his receptionist, and just go right in and get a great job. I want to thank National Bank, member FDIC, the exclusive banking partner of BDST, the attorney Ryan Pride, 701 West Main Street in Radford, Trust and Estate Planning. The BDST fan question of the week will have the reveal tomorrow. It's about 50-50 about whether you believe the sports you're watching are real after all the betting things that have come out. We are presented every day by Pulaski County Sports and Entertainment, Jonathan Sweet and Tim Miller and the crew up there and all the great things they're doing, not only for Pulaski County, my hometown, but also for what they're doing to connect all the surrounding counties with just evolution of Montgomery County Pulaski County Recreation. It's amazing. Mark Hunley, McClellan Chiropractic, thanks to him. Our chat room explodes every day. He gets responses every day, he says, from people. So thank you for that. And Family Fencing, Jason Green and the gang, sponsor of our studio here in Reiner, 540-200-8294, familyfencingnrv.com. Thanks to Harvey's GM. Go buy your next car from Harvey's. I've bought my last 3. Go bowling tomorrow night, Boogie Bowling at NRV Super Bowl. They've been around for 25 years. It's only $40 a lane. They can take up to 8 folks on the lane and get $5 a piece. Go have fun. Nothing like being there late at night, bowling, and having bowling food. In Lawson's Mobile Home Supply, 381-8011 North Franklin Street in Christiansburg. So go do all that stuff. Yeah, Creed out there being a hunter and bachelor stumbling bucket. Now he's drying off. He's soaking wet. Now he's going to draw off. He's going to take a little nappy. You can tell he's getting in nappy mode. He's been out a while. Morris says, there's a part of me that says Franklin wants a job like VT. Correct. Take a lower salary and have PSU pay the difference. I believe that is the case, as we outlined earlier, giving State College the finger from a bar stool at Sharky's. I'd love to have a BDST bowling night. 100% I would. That'd be fun. I know one thing. If I have a BDST bowling night, it's going to be with this guy joining us on the road, the Radford Hall of Famer, Ron Shelburne. Big Ron, how you doing, man?
I am good. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, man. Doing all right, brother. You look great. I know you're traveling. Appreciate you taking the time.
Oh, absolutely, man. Anytime I can get on the road and have the coffee that you can brew up yourself in the hotel room, I mean, that's just, they just don't make it like that. Literally, they don't make it like that anywhere else.
You a big bowler? Have you ever been a big bowler?
I tell you what, bowling, I've started to realize, that's when I realized my back might not be what it used to be.
Yeah.
Is, because when you lay it out there, I mean, I know I'm not Ronnie Horton standards by anyone. But, when you lay it out there, man, that back really comes into play. So as long as you have bumper lanes, I am your guy.
Well, plus you're very tall, so it might be, I can see it being a little, yeah, you're right. I can see that being a little difficult.
There you go. But hey, it's like cornhole, man. Everybody's got a shot. So that's a great idea. Bowling night, BDST bowling night. That really is.
Hey, look, Wade says you have a great announcer voice. Well, yeah, because Ron was on the broadcast for several years at the Radford Sports Network. First with Dave Hunsiker, and then several years with me, right?
That's right. Several years. I think it was 9 or 10 years. So finally, after year 10 with you, I was coming into my own.
Yeah. And then he got way too busy. He became too much of a big shot. And he couldn't do the games anymore.
Hey, those were great days. We've done some TV games. We did the ESPN. Plus, I guess, or ESPN Ocho. I'm not sure which one.
It was then. It was just the Big South Network. Remember before the ESPN Plus came along. Yeah.
Oh yeah. But I got to tell you, there was nothing like the radio games. Something about that. You had to be crisp. You had to be on point. I mean, you always are. But from a commentator, color man, you had to get in, get out, make your point while you were there. It's something about the radio. It's and I know that was your first love, and many of the great ones, it seems like radio was their first love. And a couple of times I've been on the road when the Super Bowl has been played, and I'll pick up the Super Bowl on the radio, and I'm like, oh my gosh.
I know.
And I know some of my NASCAR buddies used to say, when they used to watch it, they would say they would turn the TV on, mute it, and listen to the radio.
Absolutely.
And that's cool. Very cool.
Being all the senses of the audience is what draws me to being a radio broadcaster. 100%.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
No, Wayne, don't be embarrassed. You just don't know. Wayne hasn't followed the history of the Radford Network. Don't worry about it. But you were right, Wayne. He does have a great announcer voice. That's why he did it for so long.
And honestly, it was 20 plus years ago that we did the radio. It was over 20 years ago.
Ooh,
yeah.
Really?
Yeah. 20 plus. I know how many the plus is. I just don't want to say it because I can't deal with it.
Wow. You're right. Well, that's you're right. Morris down at Palm Coast says, "Hey, Ron this is a very timely, message because we're getting ready to get into something here."
All right.
Ron is from Virginia Farm Bureau. I worked for Farm Bureau back in the 80s. Great company. Look at that. Did you know Morris down in Palm Coast?
I did when he was in a different life. Morris he's done big things. He has done big things. He did big things in Farm Bureau and out of Farm Bureau. I've seen Morris speak at this, and I'm not making this up, the Red Lion Inn in Blacksburg many years ago. Morris gave a presentation. I'll never forget it. It was 30. Now that was 30 years ago. He was on point. I remember that conversation that he led that day for a luncheon, and I'm sure he's still leading.
Well, and again, it's very timely because you're still, of course, obviously with the Farm Bureau, and we've been talking about for the last day or so. We got confirmation Monday is going to be the next edition of the Marty and Rags Hour, and we are proud to say and reveal right now that Farm Bureau Insurance will now be the presenting sponsor of that segment. I let Marty and Rags know yesterday. They're very excited. And Marty will be definitely help promote this thing. So it's great news, man. Thank you and the company. It's great. It's great to have you guys on board.
Thank you, Rick. We Farm Bureau couldn't be more excited, more proud, to do this. And, for those of, Farm Bureau, we don't advertise like the big boys do in the insurance company, in the insurance industry. Now, that's nothing against us. We just don't have billion-dollar budgets like Geico and Progressive. But we're very, niche in our advertising. We love our sports. Okay, we love our sports. You see at the VT, the UVA backdrops. You see that Farm Bureau logo, and even through the South, those SEC schools, the Farm Bureau in those states. Is very involved. You see it on the backdrops. You see the cameramen on the field in the SEC games. They make them wear the Farm Bureau.
Yes.
They brand them up for
everything. Brand them up. They brand them up.
Funny stories with some of that. But yeah, so, and yeah, what you're doing here, Rick, Farm Bureau, couldn't be more happy to be a part of that. We love sports. We love your listeners. We love your viewers. And I tell you, hey, Morris coming in on this, talking about, presenting Marty, because Morris is from Giles County, I believe, originally. And Marty Smith, Farm Bureau has got a great connection with him. Giles County guy.
Yes.
Our agent over there, Steve Chafin. Steve, obviously played for Ragsdale. One of Marty's first speaking engagements was with the Farm Bureau at the Hotel Roanoke 10 plus years ago. I'm doing that a lot this year, 30 plus years ago. Well, I'm not doing 30 plus yet, 20 plus, 10 plus. There's a lot of pluses going on.
A lot of pluses, you're right.
Yeah. And actually, you helped broker that deal, if you recall. And with Marty Smith.
Marty, yeah.
Yeah, we were looking for a speaker. And I had said, hey, let's do Marty Smith. And our VP of sales at that time, he's not as big a sports guy. He appreciates it, but it's just not his thing. And he said, well, who's Marty? And I told him, I said, look, he gave the speech, commencement speech, graduation at RU. He looked it up. I said, can we get him? I said, let me see. He's talking about going to his agent, going through these speaker bureaus. And I'm sure that's what you have to do to get Marty Smith now. But I said, well, let me call my buddy. And then you just sent him a text and said, yeah, he'll do it.
Yeah, he's good. He's good.
Oh, yeah. But getting back to the show, it was a big-time bonus to do the Marty and Rags piece. If it hadn't, if that wasn't it, we were going to find a way to get involved. We really were. And I think
it means a lot.
Great time. Yeah.
Means a lot. And I like it because now I get to partner with you again. Partnered with you so many years on the air doing the games, and I've known you've been a friend for so long. So we come from the same place. So it's great. It just feels like it's all coming full circle. It's cool.
There you go. It is. Darn
and
right.
We're going to have more great stories. And, of course, we'll be promoting Farm Bureau whenever we promote this. And we'll have your logo. It's going to be great. It's going to be great. Well,
it is.
For that monthly segment. And you'll get some other things during the rest of the month. Not just that, but it's going to be cool. It's going to be cool.
Yeah. It's like we said, we couldn't. And again, when you have and again, Farm Bureau, we don't advertise like the big boys, but when it comes to service, your day-to-day service, when you claim service, I mean, we're every bit as good as the big boys are.
There's no question.
Very competitively with them.
And you care about people.
But, aside from that, we are selective. Oh, we do. It's a relationship business.
It's a relationship with you guys. Yeah.
But having a limited advertising budget, we've got to be very selective. And Big Dog, you always did make the cut. So that's it. That's it.
Hey, my former quarterback, Rodney Landreth, who you know very well, says, let Rod know it was obvious he didn't get any beauty sleep last night. What's up, Rod?
Hey, man, it's life from the road, Rodney. What can I say? Life on the road.
I hope you're doing well, Rodney, man. I wish you being around, man. I like to catch up with Rodney. Rodney was a tough dude, man.
Very, very tough.
Number 2, I believe, right? Hot Rod, you back there playing safety and quarterback, never came off the field. Man, he's a good player. Great dude. Great guy, too.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Well, what's great, too, about this, and, when you're on the show, even not talking about Farm Bureau, but when we just have you on, people have related the way you are with Marty because you're both terrific storytellers. You take us back to these memories, and we're thinking, how you were just talking about radio and how we become the eye, it's the same thing. You take people with you on these journeys back in your past, and that's a rare gift, my friend, and you have it.
Well, it's very kind of you. And whether people want to live in my head or not, while you give me the mic, I make them live there for a while. It's fun. I guess you get to this point, you kind of look back on things. There's a lot of good memories, and you just share those. And obviously, Radford University in basketball has been a huge part of my life, and even very formative. Clearly, from 18 to 22 years old, and those stories, those experiences, the peaks, the valleys. I look back on some of them. I'm like, man, those were tough times. Those were good times. I wouldn't trade any of them. And doesn't matter who you are. Those experiences are still relevant today.
No, you're right. You take everything with you. Everything with you. Rodney says, hello, Rodney Landreth, and hello, Ron Shelburne. Rodney Young does a great job covering high school sports here. Hey, we're all Pulaski County dudes, man. We're all Pulaski County guys. And that's great. That's great. But yeah, it's going to be an awesome partnership. Marty and Rags Monday from 7 to 8. It'll be the debut of Farm Bureau sponsorship of the Marty and Rags segment, and we'll get into all these great stories. Rags is very excited. He just likes to come on and talk football. It was funny too. You saw the last segment, and Marty asked him about one change of a call number, right, in the formation. Coach, why do we change it from, 43 to 48? And then Rags goes for 25 minutes breaking down the intricacies of one play. And he was funny because when I called him and talked to him yesterday, he's like, I apologize for going so long about – and I'm like, Coach, that's why you're on. We love it. Trust me.
Yeah.
Nobody's complaining. And I said, you're breaking this down. And we're just like, this guy's a genius, man. It's just like, and you know that from all the coaches. You're just talking about your Radford experience and Pulaski County. I mean, you dealt with that, how intricate things are. And once you're inside of it, you realize it. And it's the same thing in basketball with what you're doing.
Oh, you and I were talking yesterday, and you were talking about last night's scrimmage and so forth. And I got to thinking back on the preseasons, the time I was at Radford. Back in those days, practice didn't officially start until October 15th each year. Now, there was always voluntary workouts year round, but they were not organized. They were not supervised other than, individual workouts. And we did a lot of that, did a lot of work in the weight room, that sort of thing. Then we played a lot of pickup basketball, but the coaches would have to leave at that point. And then we didn't start our first game till about December 1st. So you had a 45-day preseason that you did nothing but just beat on each other for 45 days.
Wow.
Towards the end, there might be an exhibition game with someone. I mean, maybe. And coaches had to be really creative. But there was no way around it. It was just a grind. And so you can look at it different ways. I'm sure some coaches embraced this, very small preseason. Of course, now they're doing it year round to a degree, I guess. But, Chu, Mike Young, all those guys, they've got to get their teams on the court. You got to get them ready and on the court. But back then, coaches had to be really, really creative. And I'm sure there's pros and cons of both ways, but they had to be really creative to keep their teams, up and going for 45 days. And one thing I thought of is Joe Davis. He would always have a series of formal inter-squad scrimmages. And so he would take us around to about 5 or 6 different high schools, anywhere from Tazewell, Pulaski, down to William Byrd, all over the place. We would, and it would be like a fundraiser for the high schools. And he would do different, he would have different combinations, red, white team, whatnot. He would sit in the stands, and then he would have Phil Hopkins, who went on to be head coach at Western Carolina, got them to the tournament. And then he would have Rick Cormany coach the other team. And because Cormany that year was a graduate assistant, had left Rocky Gap and come down to Radford. And so he would sit there. And I mean, that went on, for like 5 or 6 games. And then it would culminate with what he felt was going to be the starting team versus the second team in the annual red-white game. But those preseasons were long, very, very long. So I'm glad they've shortened it up and they're doing different things and getting some actual scrimmages like Radford had last night.
Did you find it, the scheduling, when you had that many days beating on each other, did they try to ease into the schedule then, or were you just playing really good teams right off the bat? You felt like you were ready. You remember how the scheduling was, and did they have a talk to you about the philosophy of scheduling early? Because it was such a different world. You're right, getting started. Yeah. No,
it seemed like, my freshman year, we went, our first game was at BMI. And again, we talked about, what a great program BMI is. And especially back then, late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah.
I mean, Joe Contafio. I mean, he's one of the great coaches that's been in Virginia. He would, in that environment, he always put very solid, stout teams together. That's who we started out with. In my freshman year, man, this is a story. We play at BMI on a Wednesday night, come back that night. The next morning at 7 a.m., we're on a bus headed to Chattanooga, Tennessee, and we're playing in a tournament. 48 hours later, we're tipping off. And we played Tennessee State, and they had Anthony Mason. For those fans of the NBA back in the 90s, Anthony Mason was a 6'9", 250-pound beast that played point guard, played for the New York Knicks. That's where he really got a lot of notoriety.
Yeah.
Man of the year in the NBA. I mean, could play inside with any of those guys, but was bringing the ball up the court. I guess he was the original Joker. That big of a guy bringing it up. So we're playing him 48 hours later. So it was, we dove right into it. It seems like my junior and senior year, we may have started out with a Division II opponent, but those guys always came in with a chip on their shoulder looking to beat you. And a couple years we played some teams that, we can count this one up as a W, but otherwise, we're starting off with teams our level or better.
Yeah, well, and to your point about VMI, like 76 and 77, they went to the NCAA Sweet 16 back-to-back years. They went to the Elite Eight one year. They were in the regional final to go to the Final Four. So you're right. They have had
always a great tradition. Always a great tradition.
Hey, Rodney wants me to ask you, ask Ron, who was the toughest player he went up against, one of the toughest players we went up against when we played at Pulaski.
I remember George Lynch. He's somebody that comes to mind. Our senior year, that's when Coach Burns came in. And we had gotten off to a great start. We had been going to the Arby's Classic, but our senior year, Coach Burns, we didn't go to it, but he had a round robin tournament in Pulaski right at Christmas. He got Franklin County up, and he got two teams out of DC, Anacostia, which I know Rodney remembers them because it was such a great tradition. Anacostia would come down and play football every year against Pulaski. But we brought them down, their basketball team, and Cardozo. And Cardozo was nationally ranked at that time. And we really did well. We beat Anacostia. We got close with Cardozo, and they had some major D1 talent on that team. Well, then I think the next game we played was Patrick Henry High School. And this shows you how tough they were. George Lynch and Curtis Blair were sophomores. Okay, those are two future NBA picks. Curtis Blair was a third-round pick, I think, by the Rockets or somebody. Those guys were coming off the bench, okay, at Patrick Henry. And, I remember.
Coming off
we're
the bench.
playing. We're playing in Pulaski. And, I mean, they're just loaded. Russell Turner, who's now, at Cal Irvine. He was running point, had a All-American career at Hampton-Sydney. We're staying with him. And I draw a charge against somebody. I don't know. One trip up the floor. The next trip, we're back on defense. I thought I'll draw another charge. But whoever it was probably Percy Covington or somebody dished the ball
right.
before he hit me. And I remember looking, I just remember seeing Lynch's waist go by me. And I mean, he flushed it. And those guys, were tough. And I tell you what, since this is a shout out to everybody, Pulaski, there's a guy that both the football team and the basketball team got to tangle with every year. And that was none other than Cortez Martin from Bluefield, West Virginia, from Beaver. I know Rodney remembers him because it was such a heated rivalry between Pulaski and Bluefield. And they had a guy named Cortez Martin. I mean, the guy was a monster. He was like 6'2", 240. I mean, as good an athlete inch for inch as probably there was in America. And, I remember the football guys always jacked up for him. And Cortez could play some basketball. He could throw it down with the best of them. And he's a guy that, he was tough. He could play, but he's a guy that jumps out that I think everybody in Pulaski remembers Cortez. And I think had a full ride to Clemson to play football, but, I don't know that went anywhere or whatnot. But those two guys come to mind. Obviously, just pure basketball, George Lynch all day long.
Yeah, Rodney says Cortez. Oh my! There you go.
Yeah,
Cortez Martin. He remembers.
Where do you start? Oh, it was great. It was great. Everybody remembers him.
Well, it's just and all these connections over the years and stuff. And you're right. As we get older, we think about all those things, and I'm sure you find yourself reflecting on all that, especially when you're at a game. Does it just come back to you when you're sitting at a Radford game, or if you're watching a game on TV and you may hear a name that reminds you, hey, you know, I went against him once, or I was at a tournament, you know, one, and things like that? How much do you just sit there and kind of find yourself thinking about those influences from coaches, teammates, and your opponents that you play?
All the time. You know, I was thinking about one of our previous conversations talking about the VMI game when, you know, when that 10 seconds left, I thought we're done. You know, and Ron Bradley is grabbing us as we're coming off the court saying, look, it's not over. It's not over. Wipe it clean. We got 10 more seconds. Nick Saban is the guy who kind of made next play mentality mainstream. But we were talking about that stuff. I mean, when I was playing, which has been 30 plus years ago.
Yeah.
Plus probably. We were talking about next play mentality way back then. Just nobody was on the speaker tour giving motivational talks talking about it and how that applies. And I'm sure, you know, 30, 50 years before me, that's what they were talking about. And in my house, when we're watching a game, nobody really likes it when I have the remote, because every other play in my mind is a life lesson that I still have to instill on my children and those around me. So there's a lot of pausing with the remote. Now, let's break this down. Do you all see this? And we'll back it up.
You're like Madden on the screen. Yeah, the teleprompter.
Yeah. And my son is like, Dad, this is why I go deer hunting now in basketball season. I can't
watching the game. I'll see you, Dad. I'm going to the women's.
Yeah, it takes 4 hours for us to watch a 2-hour game. Why? So, oh yeah, it keeps coming out in me. But anyway, yeah, it's you know, you can't help it, and it takes you back to those days, and really the fundamentals of whatever sport, whatever game, they're still the same.
Well, finally, Ron, let me ask you: disturbing news out of the NBA last week. Mafia ties, and you and I've talked about how the deterioration of that game's kind of happened before our eyes.
Yeah,
I think it's going to get a lot worse before it gets better. You think the league's good? Yeah, you think they're going to be able to survive this long term? What do you think is going to happen with all this?
I think they will, but I'll tell you, the first thing that popped in my mind when I saw that earlier this year, back in January, I was at a conference in Jackson, Mississippi. Herm Edwards came and spoke. He was one of the speakers, and he said when he was a rookie, I don't know if it was the Jets or whoever he started out with, whatever team he was with, but he said Pete Rozelle, I believe, was the commissioner at that time. He said he made a point. He came to every NFL training camp, and you know he's a rookie. You know, he's like, okay, what's Mr. Rozelle going to talk about? The commissioner's here. He knew it was a big deal, and basically there was one message that the commissioner had to the team: do not cheat, do not bet on games. And he said it was all about protecting that NFL brand.
Right.
That's what he kept saying. He says the NFL is incredibly protective about their brand. That was the first thing that popped in my mind when I started hearing about this weekend. I don't know if it was game day. I don't know what it was. But Saban had talked about his time in the NFL. If there was anything that he remembered, was the NFL is incredibly protective, and they guard that brand. You know, not to go down this rabbit hole, but, you know, MLB, you know, and Pete Rose still not in the Hall of Fame. You know, that's, now I know there's varying opinions on that. I don't mean to get into that, but, you know, clearly the MLB, now when steroid use came around, maybe they were a little lax then.
Yeah,
but
just a tad.
But for the most part, you know, those are two leagues that are protective of those brands. And, you know, with the NFL, you see what it's turned into, you know, what a beast they are. But the NBA, they'll survive, you know, whether Adam Silver is still around or whether he's the person who will see them through it. You know, I don't know. Who was the guy? Gosh, again, life on the road. Who was the guy before Silver?
David Stern.
David Stern. I knew it was David. You know, I remember him, you know, taking pride. You know, I mean, sometimes somebody has to rule with the iron fist. That's just the reality of it, you know. I remember one time he made it clear to the NBA players, you're going to dress accordingly when you're on the road. You're going to dress professionally. You're going to look professionally. And I thought, oh boy, how's this going to go over? And it went over. You know, they did it. And, you know, you just, and again, nothing against Silver, but you got to have that strong personality protecting the brand.
100%.
The brand. I mean, look, going back to NASCAR, throwing 2 NASCAR references today, you know, it was either Bill France Sr. or Jr. You know, not everybody agreed with what it did, but that was a brand that was solid. I don't even know who runs that organization. I'm sure it's still the France family, but you don't see that one person.
No.
That one personality running the show. So, you know, at the NBA, I think they'll survive it. I think college basketball will be the beneficiary of it for the most part. But, yeah, dark times, man. It's terrible.
Well, it's never dark times with you, my friend. And thanks so much for joining us on the road. And again, thank you and everybody involved, Mike and everybody involved at Farm Bureau. So excited for our partnership and for Marty and Rags on Monday, man. It means a whole lot.
That's it. Well, I'm going to go back and get some beauty sleep.
Yeah.
You know, Rodney picked up on that early.
Rodney needs more rest. Yeah. All right, brother. Listen, thanks so much, man. I always love having you, my friend. All right.
Absolutely. Looking forward to the future.
Yes, sir. Safe travels. Take care, brother.
Take care, buddy.
There you go.
Now. Bye-bye.
Yeah, it's great. And I thought about that yesterday. I wanted to have Ron on. Well, I always want to have Ron on just because I want to hear, you know, a story or two. But in fact, he's been with Farm Bureau so long and he's so influential. And it's so great to be able to announce their sponsorship of this program and that segment with him was really cool. So it meant a lot, meant a whole lot. So thanks to Ron for doing that. And thanks to Farm Bureau. We'll talk more about it on Monday. Marty and Rags, 7 to 8 on Monday. It's going to change certain days. You know, we never know Marty's schedule, how it's going to work, but it works out this coming Monday. And we'll promote that and let everybody know what's happening. Also, Mike Young, the head basketball coach for Virginia Tech, next Wednesday. So it's going to be great. Wayne again. Hey, he should be an announcer, that Shelburne guy. Yeah. Got a pretty good voice, doesn't he? That Shelburne guy. Yeah. I always had a blast with Ron. Ron was a lot of fun to work with, man. And we always had great chemistry, great symmetry on the air. I have to get him all. It was one story. He was traveling with the Bureau. And I knew his time was coming to an end with me because he got so busy and his travel schedule changed. I remember he came in one night. We were already in pregame. He was like, man, I'm going to be there. So he was rushing around to get to the game. And he sits down. He goes, so who are we playing tonight? And I always give him a hard time about that. But, you know, he went right into it. I gave him like a quick synopsis. Oh, yeah, that's right. And he never missed a beat because he was that good at it. But, you know, he was great. Had some great folks around that time, man. Stephen Barber was on the network for a few years. Rest in peace, my friend. I still can't believe Fonz is no longer with us. Great dude. Jeff Kleppen. We had some good folks there. Some great stuff there, say the least. So thanks, Ron. Appreciate you, brother. Ron's one of the most he's one of the best people I've known. If you know Ron Shelburne, anybody knows Ron Shelburne, you know, you're getting a genuine person who's taken all the values he had, grew up on the farm, Christian family, into his family and beyond. That's why he's a success at what he does. And has a memory. I don't know how he knows all these intricate stories, man. I love hearing that stuff. I love learning. I learn. Dwight Vick scheduled to join us here coming up in just a moment. And good stuff here today as we head into our final 8 o'clock coming up. Snowville's finest, our big Ron Shelburne. We want to thank Family Fencing again, sponsor of our studio here, 540-200-8294. We've been telling you about Professional Door and the opportunities they have, sponsor of our text line. They're looking for installers. You can just walk right in, go find their phone number, give them a call, ask for Travis Williams. You don't have to have experience, but they need help. They've expanded so much. Their business is so successful. They've got out-of-state projects, they need people. They will cross-train you. Anyone and everyone who wants to work, learn a trade, go work for a great company. That's not just about going to pick up a paycheck. All right. National Bank member FDIC, the exclusive banking partner of BDST, the attorney Ryan Pride down in Radford, 701 West Main Street, trusts and estate planning. And we've had a few here today, but everybody's still about 50-50 on the games being real or not real. And that's where we are. Little River Heating and Air, 1095 Radford Street in Christiansburg, 540-553-2971. We're presented each and every day by Pulaski County Sports and Entertainment. Thanks to Jonathan Sweet, Tim Miller, and the gang. They are outstanding. Mark Hunley at McClellan Chiropractic. Go get your back pop today. Thanks to Harvey's GM in Radford. Brad Harvey. Great service department. Great everything down at Harvey's. Go see them today. Boogie Bowling at the NRB Super Bowl tomorrow night for Halloween. Wear your costume. Have a great time. They have been around for 25 years, thanks to them and their support, along with James Lawson and Lawson's Mobile Home Supply. They've been the place to go for manufactured home parts. Go see them. Do it today. Joining us now on the program, and there he is. He is Dwight Vick, the founder of Victory Life, all-commerce performer for your Virginia Tech Hokies, and the quintessential source for Virginia Tech football. What's up, brother? Good morning, DV.
Hey, what's going on, man? You can hear me good? I mean, we got like heavy rains up here in Northern Virginia, man. So, it feels like War of the Worlds up here, man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
you got what we got last night. It's making its way. Yeah, we had the same thing, man. I was getting home from Radford basketball, and it was just a deluge. It was unbelievable. So, yeah, you look good. You sound good.
All right, good. Good morning, man. You've had a great show this week. Guests all over the place in regards to just great points. I've been listening all week. Almation, Grantham. Oh man. David Teal. I mean, I've been listening all week, man. I've been enjoying, man. A lot of great insight, lot to talk about. I'm gonna just speak on something real quick.
Yeah, man.
Since I was a kid, I love basketball, football, track and field, the Olympics. I'm a sports guy, obviously.
You are, yeah.
I've always felt, and I love basketball. Basketball is actually my favorite sport. But the NBA, since I was a kid, I've always questioned the integrity of the league. I'm not taking away from Jordan's greatness or whatever, but, the Lakers and all the stuff, especially when that one ref came out and talked about how that was betting on the games and how they had it out for my guy Allen Iverson and the foul count and different things like that. It's just one of those things. Even the other night, you follow me on social media when James Harden had 20 points at the half, and the over was 20.5. The over was 20 points, and he goes scoreless. James Harden, really?
I know.
It's crazy. It's crazy. Anyway, I just want to speak on that. I know you've been asking and your listeners to talk, but I love the NBA. I'm still going to watch. I don't have a team. Right now, if any team I follow the most is the Celtics. I'm a huge Jason Tatum fan. But I think there's a lot of great talent. Wembley, the players they got now are great, but the integrity, the commissioner's got to do something, but I don't know really what you do, man. Gambling's been going on since the days of a Bronx Tale.
That's correct. That's right. Not 100%.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah.
Gambling's been going on. Yeah.
Was Allen Iverson a better basketball player or quarterback in high school? I don't think people understand how great he was as a high school quarterback. I know this is right up your alley. What do you think? I mean, you watch his highlights
I played.
You played, yeah.
I played against him in high school for 3 years, and I grew up with him. We played in the same youth league. We played on the same, well, not same team, but we both played for the Aberdeen's recreational football team organization. That's always an ongoing question. Just to give you a comparison that's probably equal, Ronald Curry also was the number one player in football and basketball in high school. And there's always been that debate too. I would always say Ronald was better in football and Iverson in high school was better in basketball. As great as Iverson was in football, he was a phenomenal athlete who had he had 7 interceptions in one game. He could return kicks. I mean, Iverson to this day is one of the greatest athletes I've ever competed against. And I played against Ed Reed, Ray Lewis. My list is crazy, right?
It is.
You know, like Iverson had a feel for the moment. And he's got a great documentary I recommend a lot of people watch on Prime. It's probably the most insightful one. The other ones have been good, but this is in Iverson's words. But, you know, going back to the question, man, you know, I would probably say in high school, he was a better basketball player slightly. Because in football, he won a state championship, took the Bethel Bruins to the state champion. And they had to beat us my junior year to get in the playoffs. We were 9-0, and they were 7-2. They had lost to Denby and Phoebus, and they had to beat us to get in. And we were number 1 in the state and number 8 in the nation by USA Today, 9-0, and they beat us 30-10. And then we lost to Norcom on the goal line, and then the following week they beat Norcom like 18-17. It was all Iverson. And then he took that team and they beat a loaded EC Glass team led by future linebacker Cornell Brown, who Lou Holtz once said was the best linebacker in the country. You know, Iverson just, and then in the post-game interview, I remember, because I'm sitting home salty, as the kids say, I'm petty, I'm trolling, I'm mad watching him. Even though I love Chuck, you know, I'm still in high school, I'm hating. And I'm looking at him and I'm on the TV and they interviewed him and he said, Iverson, what are you going to do now? He said, I'm going to win a state championship in basketball. And that Tuesday night, because, you know, high school basketball and football, you know, back then really overlapped. And it probably does a little bit now, but that Tuesday night he had, I think, 40-10. So, you know, this is I'm not taking away from today's high school climate, but there were no 6 classifications. It was AAA, AA, single A. So right. If you made it out of the Eastern region in the 757, if you made it out of the Tidewater Eastern region back then in football and basketball, you had already kind of won a state championship. This has been, right. Again, this is when 9-1 teams and 8-2 teams missed the playoffs.
Right?
Yeah, so it was really crucial. And that was just the golden area of high school sports, because I remember being at Virginia Tech, man, and y'all had y'all version of Friday Night Lights, and we had Friday Night Lights in Hampton on Wavy TV 10. It still comes on, but back then, all the football players, we would be watching it. We would stay up late, even though guys might have been from Florida and other parts of the country. We still watch high school football. I mean, high school football is big now, but in Virginia during the late 80s to the early 2000s, it was huge. I mean, I don't know, crowds come out for big games, but now you can stream it. Everybody specializes. You don't have the multi-sport athletes. I played with guys that played football, basketball, and baseball. I mean, you're talking about multi-sport. I played basketball and football. I played for Boo Williams. So it was a different time. But, I mean, hey, how about that era? I've talked to my cousin Mike Vick about doing a documentary about during maybe a 12, 13, 14-year stretch you had in the same district, Aaron Brooks and Allen Iverson. Aaron Brooks went on to play with the Saints, All-Pro, Pro Bowler. Then right after that, you had Mike, my cousin, and then Ronald Curry, same district. And then right after that, you had Marcus Higgins and Mark Vick. And then after that, you had Tyrod Taylor and Taj Boyd. So you're just not going to see that right now. Chris Coleman wrote an article about how Virginia Tech struggles and other schools similar can be tied to the fact that the eastern part of Virginia has not really produced a Power 4 quarterback in years. Think about it. All those kids I just named, you don't really see anybody like that down there right now. And I don't know about the Roanoke area, but I know up here in Nova, there's some really good quarterbacks, but now college coaches are going to the portal. They don't have time to wait.
Right. No, you're right. That'd be a great documentary. That's unbelievable. Just reeling off those names. Wow.
Yeah, man.
Amazing.
Absolutely.
Well, let's get into Tech. Let's get into the coaching search. I shared some information I had about James Franklin. Feel good about it. Still feel good. People are frustrated, but until I get the counter text that says, hey, this isn't happening, I'm not going to worry about it. Things take time. Let's say this does come to fruition and nobody's ever saying anything's done. how would you feel if Tech schedules a press conference for next week and we find out for sure that James Franklin is the new head football coach in Blacksburg? What do you think?
Yeah, it would be great. I mean, Franklin is a proven winner. It's a situation in which, Virginia Tech, listen, this is going to sound mean, but I'm not trying to be mean. It's a great Thursday morning, even though it's raining. I feel like Virginia Tech is not in a position to be so picky when it comes to, well, I don't want to eat this, I don't want that, right? We should be hungry, but not desperate, right? And there's a balance to it. I think Franklin checks the boxes if he's the guy. It seems like all things are pointing to that, right? But this notion that there's two misconceptions I feel like people are just tweeting and writing in the comments, and that's that Virginia Tech is not a great job or it's not a win. I mean, what ignorance? What are y'all eating? What do y'all put in y'all cereal? Okay. Virginia Tech is still a great job. And I have inside information. I know over the years, they've gotten some huge names interested in coaching. It just came down to money or a better job, but it's not because it wasn't a great job. To me, I've never been a huge Franklin guy because, Penn State's not in our conference, but I still follow the game. I cover the game. Penn State, if we had their record the last 12 years, Franklin would probably get a statue in Christiansburg over a Waffle House. I'm just saying, you're talking about playoff appearances, 11 wins, 12 wins, guys getting drafted. We get guys drafted too, but I'm just saying, this notion that, they can't beat Ohio State and Michigan. Let me remind everybody, going back to the 99 season when Virginia Tech played for a national championship. Every year, despite the conference expansion and all the movement in college football, every year there's only a select few teams that are legitimate national title contenders. Everyone else is playing ball trying to get in that mix. So this notion that Virginia Tech hasn't really been a contender since 99, that's false. 2005, okay. 2011, they were 11-1. There's a lot of times they've been in the brink in the top 10, top 8, but it's not about rankings. To me, what Franklin's going to bring, and this is my word for 2025, the big thing, if he's the guy, which it looks like he should be or might be, is accountability. That is what the program has been lacking. It hasn't been talent. It's been people, and I said this on your live that Saturday night when you went live. I said there have been people in Merriman in that place that have been selfish, manipulative, and biased.
Yeah.
And you can't run a program that way. It's not just about throwing money at people because Texas has got a lot of money. Texas A&M has got a lot of money. A lot of schools have a lot of money, but a lot of schools haven't know what to do with that money. It's like the guy you playing the Monopoly that's just buying everything he lands on. And then he's got to file for bankruptcy because he can't pay you when he lands on your stuff. There's a strategy to playing Monopoly, and there's a strategy to how you run a college football program. I've told you before, man, I love Monty. I feel bad for Monty because I think if Monty was the guy from the beginning, we'd be 5-3 right now. I think if Virginia Tech, and again, I didn't know that. I did know Monty was a head coach, but he runs a tight ship. David Till confirmed it. I knew it. He runs a tight ship. That loyalty of holding on to players who shouldn't be playing is now gone. And to me, that's what you need on a more intense, credible level. First of all, if Franklin comes to Tech and signs the papers like it says he's going to, number one, you have a coach that can go into any high school in America, and there's going to be a contingency of people who are going to view him as a celebrity. Not to knock my guy Pry, but Pry was a local celebrity. He was Eminem in 8 Mile, okay? He wasn't the guy that Franklin is, meaning credibility is a lot. Kids look at like, oh man, Coach Franklin was in to see me. Virginia Tech's brand since the Fuente era has taken a major hit because I'm part of the brand that made it fashionable to go to Virginia Tech. A lot of the kids when I was in high school going into the 2000s during the Tyrod era, Kevin Jones era, even the Logan Thomas era wanted a Virginia Tech offer. It was like Man, Virginia Tech offered me. Now it's an afterthought. Not to say kids don't want it. Prod did a great job. He did do some great jobs. He did a great job really trying to regain momentum in the state. The problem is you lose momentum when you're losing to inferior opponents or opponents you shouldn't lose to.
That's right.
That's right. In Ohio State and Alabama offering the same kid from Oscar Smith, Green Run, and Phoebus or whatever team, right? So in order for us to get credibility, you need somebody headlining the brand to make sure that when he walks into high schools or go into the portal, you have instant credibility. And on the field, I mean, Franklin wins. I know some people feel like he's a me guy. Look at me. This is me. I mean, you are not going to have a perfect situation. If you went to Mullen,
that's true.
Shane, everybody else, you're going to be like, he does this. This coach whines too much, or he spends a little bit too much time talking about himself, or this coach, he can't do this on, in the close games. Again, I go back to my guy, Monty. I really like Monty. I like his emotion. I like how he runs his program. It's just that right now, man, you can't have him be lead singer right now because the group needs to go on tour again and get more money, and we need to make sure we get more sellouts. And right now, we need a lead singer that's going to move the needle in momentum alone. I don't mean that BS about winning the press conference. I don't care about that. I don't care about Halloween helmet reveals. I don't care about what happened in 1977. I want new memories. I want wins that matter right now. You look at Georgia Tech on the brink of playing for an ACC championship and a playoff bid. Georgia Tech, going back to when you and I were young, Rick, they won a national championship, co-national championship in 1990 in Atlanta. That's right. They are not in the mecca of college football when it comes to where Atlanta's at. It's just they're surrounded by Georgia and other NFL, NBA teams. It is tough to win there, but they're winning, and they're doing it their way. And the thing I like about Georgia Tech is they simplify things. And that's why I feel like you don't have to have this situation where you come in and have, smoke and whistles and fireworks. This needs to be accountability. Knowing when to run the ball, being innovative in the red zone, making sure guys, just because they're making good NIL doesn't mean they're entitled. Not being afraid to hold somebody accountable in front of 75,000 people and the national TV audience. We've been missing that, and that's what I mean. Like, you saw it this year when Jared Ferguson was named the head strength and conditioning coach. Yeah. How the guys were talking about drones and all those guys like, oh man, it's been such a rough summer. It's been hard. Because they ain't been conditioning.
That's right. You're right. Yeah. They hadn't been given those things. You're right. It would change. It would change the whole mindset from people and who observe Tech football. If it is James Franklin, which I think it will be, I mean, that it's going to be a sign of a winning turn as a program, isn't it? I mean, that's what that would represent, because they got what they wanted, because they know they wanted a name after Brent Pry, and he has success wherever he's gone. So,
yeah. Now you touched on the point. I'm glad you brought that up, Rick. Great job by you. He's had success wherever he's gone. He's had success wherever he's gone. And that's the key. You want a guy that's going to come fix your sink and your toilet that's had success everywhere he's been a plumber. I don't want a guy like, he's like, hold on 1 second, Mr. Vick. Let me read the manual. You don't want that. You don't want somebody reading the manual while they're fixing your toilet and your sink or your roof or your car. We all have to get consultation. I mean, but, man, I'm just telling you, man, I speak for a lot of Virginia Tech football fans and Virginia Tech sports fans, man, especially football. You have everything there, but they're exhausted. They're fatigued with the lies and the promises, the lack of accountability. You can have people debate uniform combinations, the schedule, plays called in the red zone, who should be starting on defense. That's always debatable. But what isn't debatable is the feeling you get when a team wins on a Saturday afternoon in a hard-fought game in front of a sold-out crowd. If the program can match the fans' energy, the passion in Southwest Virginia, Virginia Tech for decades was the flagship program for the state of Virginia and the surrounding areas. If the program on the field can match that, you will have something special. And I don't mean going back to the days of old. That is over.
Right.
I think one thing, and I don't know Franklin at all. I think one thing he may do, which I love, is he's going to come in and scrap the 25 number jersey thing. And y'all know how much I love Frank Beam. I played for him.
Right, right.
But I'm feeling like you got to move on. You know, Ohio State moved on. Michigan moved on. Forget those two powerhouse programs. Other programs have moved on that are on our level regarding where we're at as far as that tier 2 group. And I want to be at tier 1. I don't know about everybody else, but I want a place at the table. I'm tired of sitting at Thanksgiving dinner in the back where I got to go upstairs to get juice and extra food. I want to be at the main table where the lighting is good and everybody's happy to be there. I mean, when you have a place at the table and you're respected, you know, you're relevant and it feels good. And the fan base deserves that. I mean, we have a very knowledgeable fan base. I mean, look, man, they were in them dudes, it was thousands of them at the Cal game with no shirt on.
I know. That's cool.
I'm like, man, you know, I mean, that's the kind of energy they're bringing. And that was a good win, man. So shout out to Monty and those guys, man. And, you know, my last point on that, Rick, is I'm also fatigued, not with you. This ain't me and you texting and when I'm on the show.
Yeah.
I'm fatigued from the trolls or the fake podcasters and vloggers talking about who the coach is and ranking coaches and articles. You made a great point earlier this week. If Virginia Tech can get this done, because it's like it's right there. If they can get it done with this many games in the season, you have Franklin going into high schools this winter. You can attack the portal. You can retain some of the talented players that are there. And this can turn around quickly. You got to get a quarterback, though.
Got to get a quarterback.
Because that's always been college football. You look at Virginia Tech's successful years. Now, Mason talked about this. Grantham talked about this. Both ex-Hokies. Well, Grantham's always going to be a Hokie. He's like me. They know. I know. They coached me. The truth of the matter is Virginia Tech historically has always had great seasons where they've had a great quarterback and a great defense.
Right.
Look it up. Don't test me. I'm Hokie trivia personified. Listen, look it up. When they've had great quarterbacks, I'm talking about Maurice DeShazo, Drunken Miller. When they've had great quarterbacks and they got a great defense, and that's not just Tech. That's a lot of schools that are winning
absolutely.
Right now. Yeah. SMU last year. You know.
That's right. I'm with you. That's the formula in Blacksburg, and they haven't had it. I appreciate how hard Kyron Drones is playing. He's playing really hard, but he just didn't pan out as the guy that they thought he was going to be. Maybe they've misutilized. Filmation thinks they've just misused him since he got to Blacksburg.
Hey, thank you, Coach. Listen, for all the cynics against Tyler Bowen had cracked the code. He figured it out. Drones is an RPO quarterback, and his best runs and best games are when he runs the ball. And I know they didn't want to get him hurt, and they played that way and coached that way against South Carolina. There were times I'm like, run the ball, run. That formula that they won against Cal and against NC State is the way Tech should finish the season. And that's how Drones should have been utilized. And to fairness to Drones, lack of accountability, what Pry should have done is fight to get a good quarterback to come in and challenge him as a starter. You have to challenge your starters. I'm going to say this again for people that know football. They agree with me. You have to challenge your starters, not just in practice 1s versus 1s and 2 versus 2s.
Right.
Look, I had guys behind me that I knew were going to push me, and if I had a bad 2 games or a bad series, they could go in. That makes you practice and prepare harder. We were complacent and we were talking more than we were doing. I got tired of, I like my team. Everybody's healthy. Man, this could be a special year. That's a special lie. You lied. You know, and that's evaluating your team and yourself as a coach. And the challenge you got to do is use your personnel to their liking. One thing Monty's been doing is getting young talent, some by circumstance, some by choice, on the field. The kid Noah, I'm from the DMV. That kid was an animal at DeMatha. That guy, he's at DeMatha.
Yeah.
I mean, again, he should have been seeing some reps. I don't care what those guys were making in that checkbook. You know, like, get them on the field. So accountability's got to be at your forefront. The misconception is with Georgia and Alabama and all these teams, man, they look at the guys they're paying and how much. I'm like, look at how well they're being coached and how they're held accountable.
That's right.
You keep forgetting that, right? So with Jones, in fairness to him, you had Tyler Bourne as his quarterback coach. Y'all, if y'all know, y'all text me and send me some film of Tyler Bourne throwing touchdown passes, and I'll cash out you $700. You can't find it. He ain't played quarterback. So you know what I'm saying? So Jones had different people coming in telling him stuff. I think there were too many people in his ear. And I think right now he's kind of blocked out the noise. I also think at times he was pressing some because that summer when he worked out with Shedeur and Cam Ward, I know Cam's his cousin. Sometimes you got to say, you know what? I don't need these cameras out here. We're here to work.
That's right.
You know, because then it was like, oh my God, these three quarterbacks, these are Heisman front runners. And you know what's funny? That season, Jones came back with a slew of returning starters, a great receiving core on paper. And most of that season, they wet the bed. Cam Ward had the best season, but even against Virginia Tech that year, he threw 2 or 3 picks. And he finished the season with checking out the bowl game during the game. And now, right now, he's starting to learn a tough life lesson about how tough the NFL is as a top draft pick. I think he'll be fine, though. Tennessee's just – they've been a work in progress for a long, long time since they gave up the big running back that went to Baltimore. So, and then Shedeur, man, you know, there's whispers he might be out the league soon.
Yeah.
So you can't tell what's going to happen based on a commercial. A commercial's a few seconds of just hype, manipulation. You got to really go get it done, man. And I'd rather have more substance than commercial in Blacksburg.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's going to be a very interesting, I think, 24, 48 hours for other people on pins and needles in Blacksburg. And we might be talking about an entirely different thing next week if all this happens. So there you go. There you go.
I'm patiently waiting because, you know, again, all signs point that way. And I'm not going to overreact and assume it's a, you know, okay, now it's coming and we're going to just do this. I just feel like, you know, I look at Duke and Georgia Tech. It's not like, you know, when I signed with the Hokies, when it took several years to build a program. You look at college basketball right now, college football, you can turn around a program fairly quickly in both sports. Just really about, I mean, look at UVA right now. I know, and Andy Bitter touched on it earlier this morning. I do think, and I've been saying this too, they got a tough stretch coming. And, you know, one thing about the ACC this year, which has not been talked about enough, is 1 through 7, it's kind of jumbled up. And it's going to be interesting to see these next 3 weeks how this plays out because you have a lot of one-loss teams, and you have Pittsburgh and Miami up there, UVA, Georgia Tech, Duke, Wake Forest is a team that really nobody's talking about. They can make things real interesting. Louisville's tough. I think they're going to come into Blacksburg and give Tech all they want. But if you're a player, that's what you want, man. You know, that's going to be a weird game, man, because Louisville's the better team. But we said the same thing about NC State. And I feel like in college football, man, you jump on a team. If the crowd shows up and the players don't do super stuff, I know that sounds simplistic, but it comes down to that. It could be a ball game. But Louisville's hungry. They gave a game away against UVA at home. UVA had 2 defensive scores, so they're probably still mad at themselves for doing that. But the good news is, man, you know, this is why you play the game, man. It'll be fun. I shout out to the Virginia Tech fans that continue to weather the storm and this dysfunction in Blacksburg, man. Hopefully, you know, I think Bruce and Bud, knowing them and how much they love that school, they feel the same way I do. So they're working behind the scenes, man. And I'm just, you know, I'm going to see what happens this weekend, man. But shout out to Hokie Nation. And look, man, baseball, basketball, Rick, football is great. This is a great time of the year. You got your winter coats, your fall coats out. The leaves are changing. By the way, if you're in my neighborhood in Gainesville, I know it's Halloween Friday. Don't try to scare me It can be dangerous for you. Don't mess with me. Don't jump out with the chainsaws and all. I don't do all that. I'll pass out candy and go inside. That's it. Anyway,
but you don't do any of that other stuff.
I appreciate you, man. Thank you.
That's great. Don't need the other stuff. Yeah. All right, brother. Listen, great stuff as always, man. Enjoy the game. We might be texting each other here this weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. So. Yeah. All right. I'll see you, boss.
All right, brother. Take care. Don't scare Dwight. It might not go well for you if you try to scare Dwight. That was funny. So they've moved games for Halloween. Thanks, Rodney. That's interesting. Martinsville, Carroll, Graham, and Tazewell, Richlands, and Marion. I mean, I would think you would want to play games on Halloween because you could encourage your students, dress up, have like a cool thing there, I don't know. But in any event. All right, we're done. I will be here tomorrow on the show, as it turns out. So we'll see you then. Thanks to all of our guests today. Andy Bitter, Ron Shelburn. So excited about the Farm Bureau sponsorship. And Dwight Vick. Great stuff. Will tomorrow, Mike Ashley, Jen. So we'll finish up the week strong here on the program. Thank you again. Please subscribe to the program if you haven't. It's free. Welcome all the new viewers across the land. Let's look. We're well over 1,000 views in the combined broadcast. Thanks, Zach. Thanks, everybody. You're helping me get through a tough time. Yep, turning 77 tomorrow. So thanks for all the birthday wishes. And we will see you tomorrow on the Finally Friday edition, everybody. And anything breaks news-wise, you go to our Facebook page. I'll put it on X too, but we have, I don't know, over 4,000 followers on Facebook. So that's where the main news from the show comes from. So we'll update you on everything as anything may break here soon. Take care, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow morning.